Welcome, everybody. I am Sino, and welcome back to season 2 of the CCL. Welcome. I'm here with Zek. What is up, my friend?
Not much. I'm super excited to be right back here on the desk. And honestly, what a duo to kick it off with between you and myself for an electric back in action Canadian Collegiate League Rainbow Six Siege Season 2. Man, I'm so excited. And we have such a great matchup here tonight between two great teams, Simon Fraser University and the University of Alberta. Now, Simon Fraser, the up and coming, they were here in our previous season versus the new kids on the block, University of Alberta. I'm curious what kind of changes Simon Fraser's made over the course of the off season and what kind of electric action University of Alberta is going to be bringing into the scene.
Well, a first season, it always needs to be memorable. That could be a negative or positive experience. And with that being said, today we're going to see it's going to all boil down to the end of this BO3, and we'll see if they're going to make their intro to the CCL memorable or not. But it's all about the standings for today, being put into a group that is easy as well. You need to punish anybody who gets in your way to put yourself on the board and be a memorable team that the casters, the production, and the other team will remember when they do look at you for the next game. So we're going to kick it off here. There's not much to speak of since we haven't seen any of them play yet, but I'm excited to see what they have in store for us.
I'm going to be honest, and I think everybody can be honest here. These standings, we got no stats so far this season, so we're going to take a big old leap and throw Jazz under the bus and say these are Jazz's opinions on where the teams lied going into the start of the season. So yeah, go ahead and flame Jazz. I want to see some at Jazzes in chat and let them know, why am I McGill in 10th right now? What is up with this? Come on, let us know why Jazz thinks exactly what he thinks. The nerve of Jazz. Although this does divide up our groups to show us where these teams
Up looking at the University of Alberta, or SFU in this case, we're going to be looking at Dubs, Doggo, Sfu, Takeo, and Ori lined up for a beautiful season. And moving on to U Alberta, we are going to be looking at
soon to come, the University of Alberta roster. Absolutely.
We just left on a cliffhanger. There we go.
Hotcha, Jackie, sorry, Razor, Patchy, and Vacato over here right now for the University of Alberta. I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup. Like we saw 50-50, a lot of people kind of on the fence on where this one is going to fall. So what are some of your thoughts? I mean, jumping on into this, we have team who took 6th in their group in season number 1. So is Simon Fraser, okay? They didn't really qualify for playoffs. They got a lot of coming back to do. They have Hot Chocolate and Takeo, who were some really great fraggers. Fu over there did really great on the objective by the looks of it. And I mean, Takeo even coming out with a perfect 1.0 KD over the course of the entire season. It takes a little bit of skill. I mean, you're getting your 1-for-1 at least at the end of the day.
I mean, I do agree with that. I've never really seen a 72 and 72 split even. We can't say too much about Alberta because we haven't really seen their statistics and the players. So I think we're going to be the casters that are going to get that first impression on the team so we can make whatever comments we want first. And I'm kind of excited. You never really see that. But moving on, aside from the statistics, let's take a look on where they can take their skill levels in terms of the maps. This will be a best out of 3 series. We are going to be seeing Chalet as the first pick, a very big fan favorite. Everybody loves Chalet. Controversial Consulate. I don't know how I feel about it. Not a lot of players like to defend Consulate first, just due to having so many influential defender bans coming in first. And with the recent changes of Blackbeard, it is going to be a very chaotic map if he remains off the ban board, with our decider being Bank if we do go to all three maps, which is also a 50-50 map, but more beloved than the treacherous Consulate.
I have to say though, three very defensive sided maps by the way we see things, and the way that I've kind of seen things kind of shift is a lot of players going into that 30-second meta, taking things nice and slow, not really going for that run and gun style. What is some of your experience coming in here now to the Canadian Collegiate League? What are you expecting to see?
I mean, seeing Chalet, I've seen some interesting things in Collegiate. I was on the LAN a couple of weeks back and I saw a bunch of teams doing diabolical strategies. And I don't think that is something that should be completely disregarded, because when you're versing a team that's just gotten their first time into an invitational into the CCL, you could take them by surprise by just running at them full speed and it could work. But you also could deal with players that have experience with the game and maybe they just didn't bring that to the season. So I do think the first game or the first couple of rounds will show us what teams are really in for what type of strategy, whether it would be a conservative defensive push or an all-out attack where they want to cover their bases and take care of the utility first and then go for that execute in the last dying seconds of the round.
I'm expecting a lot of utility, especially on a map like Chalet, the first map that we're going to be kicking off with. I usually see a lot of information-based tools. We see our Valkyries. We see, got to get a lot of vision up around the map. The cams are really, really important, and you got to make sure you're really taking out a lot of that. Very roam heavy indeed. Constantly, you can get a little bit more, straight in towards a site, especially once we see on the upstairs site, we see a lot of players want to just burst through that window and go for that quick execute. However, once we get over to Bank, I mean, I feel like it's quite direct. That's where you start to see a lot of the Monties getting pulled out. We want to just kind of go straight in through dirt. We want to just go straight up main stairs and just burst right into sight. So kind of going to be able to see, hopefully, some change up in the operators over the course of these three maps. I'm excited to see what these teams end up bringing on out. But I mean, with some of the changes in R6 recently, are we going to be expecting any change up in operators in your idea?
With the recent changes coming from Ayana, she has been absolutely buffed with the G36 recoil. And I do know compared to console, PC does kick up a lot. So having that recent change, having that change with her new gun is going to be something to be spoken about. So with the recent changes coming in alongside, also with Ram losing her shotgun and Sledge receiving a 2 even where he gets 2 armor and 2 speed, he'll have a different type of verticality now where he can move around and evade C-Force faster, all while bringing that big push of his. Now, it's a little bit of a troll. You never see Ubisoft intentionally buffing Sledge, as he's gotten nerfed all over the years, but you might see now some integration into the plays, as there is the big versatility of bringing 3 different soft breachers. Buck has new Claymore, Sledge has a speed update, and Ram no longer has a shotgun.
I'm pretty sure Capcan no longer has his Nitro as well. He ended up
Ooh, yeah, it's a
demoting him.
big one.
That is a big one right there. Look at this right now, jumping on into the operator bands. We see Ying and Blackbeard getting knocked off the board, so nothing really in the information route, more so in the execution route for these bands so far.
I mean, we did talk about those flash plays. If somebody were to play very aggressive, we would have seen it very early on, but guess what? Those 2 chaotic operators, one of them that brings a fully automatic AR behind a shield, and the other one that brings those flashes that you can no longer cook to perfection, they're still very chaotic. This is an absolute beautiful ban, both for defenders, taking Valkyrie out on a 3-floored map where a lot of the areas are soft. It's easy for C4 kills. And Azami, the one who can reshape the map to her liking, also gets taken off the board. And I do think these defender bans are very, very underrated.
It makes sense entirely. The defender banners, I can see that being very underrated. But I mean, the Valkyrie was the one that I name dropped right out of the gate when talking about Chalet. I was like, okay, I want to have cameras everywhere. I want to have that information. It's very important to have that on this map because it's just so roam heavy. You gotta have so many angles covered. You gotta make sure you're really watching every single side. You don't know which staircase, which angle someone's going to be coming at you, coming towards the site. So really getting that information down, getting it early is going to be crucial. And then the Azami, you already mentioned it very clearly, being able to reshape the map. And I'm just going to add a wall right here in the middle of the room, or I'm just going to like cut off the line of sight over as you enter this doorway. And now I can just shoot your feet for free and you can't even think about looking at my direction. I think such an amazing operator. Taking a look at some of this operator lineup, though, coming in for University of Alberta, though, we are seeing kind of a little bit of a bunker down, but we got the roam with the ward, and I'm looking at Cass, I'm looking at Frost, I'm looking at Mute. We want to kind of chill down, we want to hold site.
I mean, speaking of holding down site, if you were to hold down the site hypothetically, you would try to bring Amira considering she survived the ban phase, and usually you bring that spear entry Ash to either get rid of the shields or the Miras, and we're not seeing any of those. Yes, there are Wamais to deny the shields and everything else that is going to be projectiling into from library, mezzanine, and from below, but those mirrors are very crucial so you don't have a player such as your Mute with a C4 and a shotgun playing suicide in a situation here where he either has to choose his body or he's going to go out swinging with that C4. Once he gets cleared, that's full library control, allowing a lot of pressure onto mezzanine and blue.
Oh, shots going in, unfortunately not gonna hit their mark. So far, 60 seconds in, we're through with the prep phase and moving on into the execution. And already it does look like Simon Fraser is closing in on this upstairs. They want to sweep out this roam. They want to sweep the upstairs and work their way down. And honestly, I think this is one of those crucial maps where you really need to think about 3-floor control. You need to make sure you're actually taking this top down, clear the top, clear the the main floor, and then heading down to the basement. Otherwise, you will just get collapsed back on top of so much ground to cover. And that's where we're talking about how much information is so necessary. Very unfortunate for that Flores drone end up meeting its maker of the Mute, though. See if they can end up finding it and blowing up that shield. No, they don't. They can't get him out.
Wow, 2 Roteros sacrificed, and keeping the shield up is absolutely crucial. Now, if the Wamai does decide to go back down, which he won't, as Jack will stand up, take the head off of 1, 2, that's 2 operators gone, dead, and no longer with us, as Grim goes down with all 5 of his bees in the pocket, and same with the Ash, as the utility gets caught by the disc, he'll put it back up like nothing ever happened, and Wamai has the power position here. If he decides to give up blue, he can shoot the shield, or shoot the jammer off the shield and allow it to be blown up so the attackers don't have a one-way down onto blue. The last Rotero will be used to try to either find the blue shield or the mezzanine shield, but does it really matter as you've had 2 minutes and 22 seconds burned off the clock?
That's unbelievable time waste right now, and not to mention first pick of the game, first pick of the match, first pick of the season going to University of Alberta, and being a double pick headshot nonetheless for Jackie. That's gotta feel really good, not only as an individual but also as a team. This is some momentum building in their favor. 20 seconds remaining. We were talking about that 30-second man. Can they make it even downstairs? Can they make it even to the first floor? Time is ticking down. Vacato gets knocked off the board, and it does seem like Simon Fraser needs to make a rush play. They need to get into sight, and they are doing that just now. Jackie finds a third for the map, and Patchy ends up finding Hot Chocolate. It comes down to 1. Defenders close it on out, and that is going to be first round in the pocket of University of Alberta.
That was a crisp round, really, from both teams there in the dying rounds, as if you had the ability to prove themselves. They had that ability to bring it back, and they almost did, which is commendable, but they didn't, and they lost, giving Alberta that perfect momentum. That's exactly the confidence you need when you're bringing your first game of your first season in the CCL, and that was a beautiful execute, but a little bit of communication loss there, where the Frost was kind of left abandoned at mezzanine, where Omai decided to give it up, allowing the Flores to take control of the library connector and taking off her head. But something we don't really see often is seeing an instantaneous mid-floor hold right down to the basement. They're not even gonna try to go dining with no Mira. They still have the Mira on the board. They haven't brought her both times. They're just gonna go instantly down to the basement. I know a lot of defenders do hate this site, specifically because of the amount of verticality that can be used against you once you lose your first roamer.
You know, the way I'm looking at right now, if I'm University of Alberta, after that last round, if we can sit here and get Jackie just rotating around, just hold off as much as he did. I mean, that was almost 2 minutes of time wasted with just the Wamai up there. Jackie was playing phenomenally. They weren't able to knock down that shield. They wasted 2 Renteros drones, like you mentioned, and even the third one to even just get that shield down to flush out that Wamai. That was so much time, so much utility wasted that I think SFU needs to take a step back and approach this one a little bit differently. And it does look like they are going to approach a little bit differently. They want to just go straight in for the site. I like this. I like this adaptation. I like this change. There goes the wall. The main breach is open. Do they push in right out of the gate?
Looking like the defenders are taking a little bit of an open concept to heart and using to open up the mid-floor connector wall that allows you to see so far in a sight from the main breach. If you do get trench and main open, it basically turns sight into a death trap, meaning you either have to rely on your utility, meaning the death traps and the evil eyes coming in from the Volcan canisters and the Maestro from Goyo as well. It's either going to be you go for your picks or you're going to stay out of sight and wait for the defenders to come to you. The attackers here just have to clear the evil eyes, which they don't have a Brava for, but they do have the Ash on the board. It's all about what can you do to get that first pick, because you are going to dictate how the rest of the round is going to go. 1 minute and 10 seconds has been burned off the board, and a little bit late to start working the vert as they've taken the walls priority first, but there's a bunch of roamers to start worrying about, and Goyo will be the first of many to worry about as Vigil is just relaxed all the way upstairs in offices.
You know, the problem in this instance is you ping out that Goyo, you see Jackie up there, and it's just more time delayed. Just existing there, just knowing that he's there, and finding the opening pick again onto Takeo. Another one down for SFU. University of Alberta is feeling pretty good about this. I've got to be honest, Jackie's feeling pretty good. 4-0-1, and look at this, 2 minutes again into the second round. We're not closing in on the site. We're not moving in for SFU.
They're trying to take those preemptive measures of trying to get those breaches open first and then worry about the roams later. But sorry, gentlemen, this is not how Siege is played. You need to clear the roamers first. It's textbook, and you're paying the price for not doing that. You've lost your main flank watch with all 4 track stingers in the pocket, and now you're going to take Trench as a second cause measure, but you're still gonna have to worry about that Vigil who's in master bedroom waiting for a late round flank. Jackie gets taken down for the first time in 2 rounds, feeling himself a little bit, but wasting 2 minutes and 20 seconds, allowing Vigil for the second pronged roam. Can he get the kills here as damage is being traded in cellar as Warden's taking majority of the damage in the first exchange? Vigil walking down, his location has been located straight off of the audio. 1 for Doggo, the second for SFU, and now it's a 2v4 with 20 seconds left on the clock. Mute has to worry about the main breach. Maestro has to shift his attention to Trench as the attackers can just pool on into the site. But 80 bullets from an LMG doesn't matter as Dogo and Chubbs will end out the round to give the first to SFU.
Very good second round right there for SFU. And I gotta be honest, very good at the end, okay? We're looking at it throughout the entire early. Yes, right out of the gate, opening the main breach wall, I think that was very phenomenal. And, you know, I can see the long game coming out of it of, okay, we can sit here and get rid of the utility, and at any moment we can push through the main breach and get the plant down. I think that's really cool. The problem is that whole center part of the round just felt so delayed. I can't even say the center part. The whole 75% middle part of that round felt so delayed and so slow paid for SFU that we were getting down to those final moments, and I'm like, are we gonna have a similar instance from round number 1? Are they just going to feed into this University of Alberta slow play, draw out the round, and let him come in? I mean, take a look at this now. I see Patchy on Clash, okay? They're really trying to slow this down. I think they're feeling it right now of like, all right, we're slowing down the round. Things are going well. How can we slow it down even further? Once they get onto this site position, bam, let's bring in the Electric Lady.
I do think that the separation between the attackers and the defenders' types of mentality, the attackers have the mentality of get things done and then ask questions later when finding the roamers, and the defenders take a little bit of a hold with the roam as well. They wait till the last dying seconds to try to take the engagement. It's not Jackie, he swings anything that moves, but it comes down to who can win their ones, and ultimately that led to the downfall of Alberta as they lost 2 direct ones, with the Vigil not even being droned. His whereabouts were unknown. They thought all 4 bodies were inside after they killed Jackie, and that was something that paid against them as they lost their ones. Seeing a roaming mute in a Kaid is a little crazy, as you're going to leave the site to a Clash, a Thorn of all operators, and a Smoke. Never really see Thorn integrated into now holds, but it's all about Collegiate bringing in those different holds that you like to see. It's all about those unique holds, as Clash will start sticking her face out of the main breach, dealing some damage to the Thatcher, and making her whereabouts known. 1 EMP is in his pocket to shut her down for 30 seconds.
This is textbook. I'm just kind of staring at you through the hole, and you really can't do much about it. But I mean, like you mentioned, throw out the EMP, disable it. That's going to be the best play, but it's only going to come down to, I mean, if we're looking at already right now from SFU and the way they played the previous 2 rounds, we probably won't be seeing that until the final 20 seconds of the round. Let's be entirely honest. We're already approaching the halfway mark, and Has anybody from Simon Fraser even stepped inside the building? Okay, they have. All right, we're good. We're good. When we see Hot Chocolate inside making his way around.
I feel like they're just edging around the site and just not having a directive in mind. The pushes here are looking scattered, but it doesn't look like his aim is scattered as Doggo again just deletes Razors. He is no longer with us, losing his C4, which is crucial for late round holds. But again, assuming so much position, but not having the teamwork to back it up. We see so many late round executes here, and they've been paying the price so far in terms of executes. But Clash does get deactivated by the Thatcher, but turns around. Psych taking the head off of the KO. Doggo again for a second pick. Ash is flying into the building, winning every one. Osa assuming position of blue with a teammate on her back, walking down, taking the control with Ash as Clash is going to take damage all by herself in the connector, and Kate forced to come back to site. And right now, it's a matter of who will get the next body. Is it going to be even, or is it going to be doubled up on the differential on the bodies? Right now, it's all going to boil down to who's going to get it next, and Osa placing down the shield in the dying seconds of the round.
University of Alberta has made their way back over to site. Hutcha ends up going down to Sfu, though, and Jackie ends up finding Sfu in return. Good refrag coming in from the University of Alberta defender. But the diffuser does go down. Doggo Pogo finds Jackie. Chubbs takes out last, and that is going to go in the pocket of SFU.
What is going on? This is the weirdest match I think I've ever casted in my life. The pushes from the attackers look like they have merit, but it doesn't look like they have the teamwork to back it up. And then in the last 5 seconds of the round, they turn into prime TSM and get the diffuser down and get into the site within the last couple of seconds. I don't know how to feel about that, but right now, Alberta has lost 2 rounds straight, allowing them to go down, but the differential is just 1. And they finally take it to the mid floor. The objective rotation parameter does unlock the same site they won in the first round, and they're still not going to take it over to kitchen and bar. I'm just wondering what's going on here and why they're not prioritizing a site where they have all the operators and more that is needed to win these sites, and reinforcing the hatch for verticality.
You know what? As for the offense, it's the age-old first thing you do, you know, in order to fool your enemy is to fool your ally kind of play, except they're fooling the casters. We're sitting here absolutely baffled because it seems like it's this scattered approach, and then they come together in the last... I talked about the 30-second meta, and honestly, with SFU, it feels like the 15-second meta, right? They're running it at the absolute last moment. I didn't even see the diffuser going down until it was already down, because I was just so focused on everything else that was going on. It was chaotic, but is it a controlled chaos is the question that I need to ask SFU. If I ever get the time, well, I'll sit down with some of these members of SFU and be like, okay, is this controlled chaos, or is everybody just going, in comms, go, 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 we gotta get in there, time's running out, you know, because these are the important things we need to know. These are the important things, honestly, if you're SFU, that you need to know, and these are the things you're going to be watching back in your VOD review later, and your coach is going to be, guys, what are we doing? This isn't the kind of game that we play. As for the defense, though, you know, I feel like University of Alberta is doing a good job of slowing things down, but then it comes down into those last moments, and I think that's why they were like, okay, you know what, let's try the Clash, let's see if that can help slow things down once they get close to site. But that was a little bit off the mark. As they can tell, we end up seeing that Clash get dropped now for an Oryx instead, and they're going back to this trap base of the Frost Legion, but then again, this is the site that they won, so I'm having high hopes for it. We'll see if they have a repeat of round 1.
Now, I've seen extensions onto that second floor, but I've never seen extensions out in the bedroom and offices. It's too much space to cover with only 5 defenders, and one of them is going to be in the basement holding down snowmobiles. Something I realized earlier in the round is they've reinforced off snowmobiles and electrified it, which I've never seen before, but it does cover more ground. Yes, it'll slow it down, but as you mentioned before, it's all about confirming that last 10 seconds of putting the nail in the coffin, which Razor will do for the sledge as he'll go 10 feet off the board as he'll get picked off. Now we've seen another engagement as Pachai has taken a couple of damage, but he hasn't gone for a death here, as now we've seen Takeo cover massive amounts of space and might be able to find the Legion here, and this is what I mean by extending out so far and trying to grab things that are out of reach could be at a benefit for the attackers and not yourself, as you're too spread thin to try to find a pick here. You're opening up the connectors, you're opening up the vert, and all of the defenders are either out of sight or soft roamed and confined to a small area either in the kitchen or the connector. Hot Chocolate covering more space than he should need to, but he'll still find an easy kill because guess what? Nobody's in sight. Might be able to find the second on the man poking his face up the hatch. If he crosses, we will no longer see Warden, but Hot Chocolate will go down, and we could have seen another kill, but Legion will save the life and we might see him swinging into the last 10 seconds of the round as he has a very good power position here, and the attackers need to clear him to be able to get a plant down.
Here comes go time for Simon Fraser. The final 30 seconds here in round number 4. Can they make round number 1 happen again? Or are we going to see a repeat of the previous 2? Simon Fraser closing in on the site. Now his go time flashes come out. Here comes the execution. And what happened? Apache, he ends up getting knocked on down by Doggo Pogo. Here comes the run in, but Vaquero ends up knocking down Doggo Pogo. In return, Takeo finds Jackie. 2 versus 2 scenario, 4 seconds remaining. The diffuser is getting planted right now by the Hibana. Do they notice they're not even on site? Takeo finds Razors. 1v2 scenario, it all comes down to Vaquero. Can he close this one out? Can he find the clutch? Can he get the diffuser? 35 seconds and 1 HP. I wish the best to this Legion because it ain't looking too good right now, so you know.
You know, as I said before, pop the hatches, you'll get some good luck. Try to confuse everybody, you're only going to end up confusing yourself. You're 1 HP, the diffuser's down, and you have a pea shooter compared to the ARs here, and you'll get shot in your back. It's good night to the Legion, and they're going to move on with 3 rounds in the pocket now, as the setup was not expected for a plant in the late round, and having that hatch reinforced off just allows the attackers to worm themselves into sight, get it down with no problems once they got control of the connector. Now, speaking about their fraggers, looking at Pogo here, he's always on Ash, and not having the best stats last season with a .83, it wasn't looking beautiful for him, but he's looking completely reformed as he's been their spear entry every single time, and he's managed to find a pick and win almost every single engagement we've seen so far.
He's looked really good, and honestly, I'm very pleased with Simon Fraser's adaptations here right now throughout this second, third, and fourth round. And you know, when I'm looking at the overall right now, University of Alberta, you kind of mentioned they're spreading out very, very heavily. Okay, we're seeing them quite literally 1 man downstairs, 2 man upstairs, you know, nobody really on site. I'm kind of wondering, and this is what I was thinking back in round number 2, as Simon Fraser was approaching the main breach, they opened that one right out of the way. I'm like, okay, are they just gonna run right into sight? Personally, I think that might actually be a ideal play for Simon Fraser. If University of Alberta is going to spread out this far, even for what feels like they're trying to build these turtle team comps, then you might just have a perfect execution within 30 seconds into the round. Although, take a look at this. We have ourselves a blitz. We're going in for the blitz push.
They brought in that Chaos Agent, as Blackbeard, the main Chaos Agent, has been taken off the board. But right now, we're looking at the Maestro integrated into the hold again, but I just have to ask, they're throwing curveballs every round. Stop going in the basement if you haven't won it once. You've been brought the Chaos Agent of the Blitz, meaning it's even easier to get it into sight if all of the defenders are out, which we're seeing 4 right now off of sight. It's going to be harder to recover that once your Maestro Evilizer shut down by the EMPs, yet if the Thatcher decides to use it. Ace is deciding to go upstairs, and again, it's confusing for both teams what they're really trying to do here, as we're going to see a very early engagement. It's going to be ring around the Rosie for the Goyo and the Blitz, and right now all he has to do is get the flash up, which he will do, but the hip fire connects and takes him off. That's the first engagement, very fast, and the second one will ensue as Thatcher is trying to close down the location of the Goyo, but he'll rotate up because he's got a pick and he's got the health to back it up, and now it's all about just playing your time.
All right, right now we're 50-50 on Jackie gets first blood and University of Alberta wins the round, okay? Jackie, this is it. You got to be the tiebreaker right now, okay? Show us it can happen. He got first pick. He got the second pick. Okay, so the last time he got the double right out of the gate, University of Alberta won the round, all right? This is what I'm putting on the table right now. We're going to try to create something here. Create something out of nothing. All right, so 2-man advantage. 1.5 minutes goes by. We're wasting that 2-minute time as we saw back every single round. Honestly, I can't even say, you know, back in round 1, back in round 2, back in round 3. It's this slow approach that Simon Fraser is doing, trying to clear out utility, trying to make their way towards site nice and easily. We do see them opening up the walls, though, and trying to find a steady approach, find an angle in. They are 2 men down, and Hot Chocolate's even eating some damage himself. This isn't looking too good in the HP bar aspect. I like that they unwrapped those trees, by the way.
Big attention to detail coming in there, but the attention to detail right now that's going to be the main focus is the fact that the TCSG will claim the life of Hot Chocolate, almost finding the second, but Takeo's just going to walk in, being absolutely flamed down to smithereens. He's at 1 HP, 35 seconds left in the round, and all he has to do is find bodies to do something with it, but right now any gun can take him out, and the pre-fire almost connects with him. But again, 1 HP, and Pache gets the double kill to take care of the man trying to get in the building with the plant, and the second one in wine, and that's finally a response coming in from Alberta.
I think that's good cleanup, and I think that's something that they needed. It was at this point, you know, you're sitting 1 and 3. You don't want to be going in 1 and 4. Honestly, you don't want to be 1 and 3, but you don't want to be going in 1 and 4 because it's that mental aspect. You know, you want to start pulling this back, get it close to even, at least 2 and 3. You're sitting here like, okay, guys, you know, we're cleaning some stuff up, we're making changes, and that was a very convincing victory right there for University of Alberta. Let's see that back. Let's see it happen again. But the problem I'm looking at is you can't just rely on Jackie to get 2 picks right out of the gate. And okay, you know, we're great. You know, Jackie did his thing right away. No, you know, it needs to be a little bit more of a spread effort. It needs to be a little bit more clean, a little bit more concise. We need to come into this with a game plan in mind, and it can't just be expecting Simon Fraser to take their time. We're able to catch a couple guys and hope for the best. What is the idea? What is University of Alberta's plan here on the defense? I see them. They have this Frost now. They bring back the Clash, okay? And a Malusi on top of it too. So again, I'm looking at this slow down trap base, you know, style with a single roamer, air quotes right now, a single roamer on the Warden. They haven't been playing it that way, but single roamer with that Warden moving around. I'm just wondering, you know, what the overall game plan is right now for this defense.
I'm kind of in awe. They waited till their last round on defense to finally go the site that is so broken when you bring the right operators, and they didn't bring the right operators. We're going to see a hold where they're going to have to hold down Piano as hard as they possibly can because they haven't brought the correct wall denied to be able to keep that breach closed for as long as possible. And right now, we don't know if that hatch is either reinforced, soft, or open, but it will depend later on the round. It will be very crucial if it's open for late round denial, late round executes, and just an easy way to get back into site without having to go through the normal channels of the stairs. It is going to be difficult here to keep it locked down when there's only jammers standing in between the K9 breach, the office breach, and just getting in from anywhere here. And the pressure we've seen from the attackers that slowly builds up is not something to be messed with. Right now, there's nothing to catch the projectiles from Zof and Ash, and I think we're going to be into one of those rounds where it'll all boil down to who can win their ones, because right now the utility will get fried nice and quickly, let me tell you, unless we're going to see a very lucky Frostmat kill here.
A lot of soft walls still available too here on the second floor to open up lines of sight for the offense pushing in. Very spread out though from this defense. They did spot out the Ash, so that is going to be a good point right there, but you know, okay, she's still outside the map. We're a minute 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Time is ticking down, but this is typical Simon Fraser textbook right now here in their very first match in season number 2.
Right now, we might be able to see Takeo get a nice little silent 45 push going down. Not so silent as the breach just got opened. EMPs from the good luck allowed the teamwork to get it nice and open. First track stinger will be used on the connector from the top of West Main to try to shut down anybody trying to swing in for a plant. Right now, you are going to see 1 C4 from Hutcha. Has he used it is the question. It will be the main form of denial because right now, Frost and the Mute are going to be upstairs, but the attackers are just going to move on like nothing happened. And again, this is what we're talking about. It's all about who can find the first pick and who can get the roam properly cleared. As Chubbs will find Hutcha, that's your player with the C4 now gone. Doggo eats the Frostbat, as we also talked about. He'll be immobilized for the rest of the round, but immobilized means nothing to him as he'll find a pick onto Vikea with no pick. C4 connects onto Chubbs as Fu gets one. Jackie on another. It's a 2v3 and the case still hasn't went down. Double kill for Jackie as he just walks out of 45, and it's all about the boiling down seconds of the round as he's just getting his third and he's boiling it. He's like the John Wick of University of Alberta as he's just cooking from within. Shield operator on the board. You're both near 100 HP. He's eating a Frostmat. He cannot sprint. He cannot get the diffuser down, and it's looking like we're gonna go to 3-all as we're gonna switch on to the attacker defender switch.
Don't do it to him. Don't do it to him. We killed him with the Clash Shield. Down goes the Ash, and University of Alberta has tied it back on up. honestly, I was looking at that for a moment, and SFU, they broke open the wall, they started to push in, they smoked it off. We see Chubbs step in there, start to plant the diffuser, was getting so close. I thought that diffuser was about to go down, even for the sack of Chubbs' life. Unfortunately, the nitro came in from over the top, stopped that, luckily at the last moment. Speaking of the last moment, we're finally getting a Mira coming in here in round number 7. It is as an operator, I thought I would have seen a lot sooner, but nonetheless, as we were talking about with the previous round, you know, it just felt like all the cards started to fall apart right there for SFU, right there at the end, and very unfortunate, but hey, I mean, it's going to extend this game out, and that's pretty cool.
As we've seen the attacker defender switch, the first thing we're recognizing is this team has decided to bring the Wamai alongside with the Jaeger. And finally, behold, Mira's on the roster. Don't know why she wasn't prioritized much earlier than that, but already looking at both rosters, it looks like it was for the better they switched on to the attacker defender switches, and a 3-3 will also allow us to see a much more comprehensive hold in both terms. Early spawn pick here might allow Pogo to get a kill, but right now Monty paired up with Deimos, amazing space covered, an amazing roam clear duo. And with your Fragger Razors on Ash Spear entry, we're going to be in for an interesting round here if they're either going to choose to clear all the utility or go directly for sight, as we've seen coming in from SFU when they were on attack.
Well, we're going to keep in mind this was SFU's map pick here. So hopefully they have, I'm going to say hopefully, but I'm more than likely they have a plan here for the defense. We're seeing their spread going on right now. And, you know, honestly, I think pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Looking at this offense, though, I mean, I'm seeing a Deimos, I'm seeing a Monty, I'm seeing a bunch of stuff we haven't seen yet, and I'm excited. I'm very optimistic. I'm looking forward to seeing how they actually approach it. Do we get inside a little bit closer to sight outside of the minute and a half, 2 minutes that we ended up seeing get wasted? Well, I tell you, it only took one drone to knock down the shield over here on the blue stairs, though. I tell you that much.
I was gonna say they are missing the mute here, and the mute does. He is the holy savior, as both shields have been fried in a matter of a minute. Monty now allowing himself to cover mezzanine, blue, and almost all the space that the defenders want to keep restricted. The K9 breach does get open, but an early engagement does allow the University of Alberta to get SFU down. The Frost is down. Can she get rezzed is the question here. I don't think the attackers know she's downed yet, but right now it gives them the momentum they didn't know they had, as we're going to see them clamp down on any of the defenders sitting upstairs here. Looking like we're going to see the Wamai bury himself into library and dropping out and going back up the blue stairs, as SFU will get finished off. Does not live to see another day, does not get the res, and we'll see one camped out in Mudroom. Wamai peeks his head up blue, gets the kill, and his ability will not help him as he does get full blinded.
That's a good one to knock down. A nice 1-for-1. You're not able to scout anybody out anymore with this Deimos. That's the information operator that they needed. Now they're going to really have to just rely on the drones that they have. They are opening up a lot of this floor and a lot of that vertical, and I'm going to be entirely honest, with 45 seconds still remaining on the clock, I think they're in a great position. They have third floor control, they have this whole library, they have hatch open, they have everything that they need right now to really be able to look on. The big things I'm worried about, though, is we still have a Mira sitting down on site right now, sitting right over in connector, and I think she's feeling pretty good right now, so you know.
I do think she will remain on the board unless Wamai did a little bit of a contingency plan and got those discs inside the site before they got it done. And the question is, why wouldn't you? As the Mira and connector does get burnt off, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but I do think it goes in the favor of the attackers, as having those death marks from Deimos is absolutely crucial. But Monty makes his way into sight. Chubbs gets traded out in the meantime. They're fighting out from within as Chocolate wins one, gets the melee onto the Monty. Quick feet, happy feet, as he'll land a hipfire, quad kill, and the defenders take it.
That was, what, 8 seconds of action right there?
What just happened? Absolute flood from the attackers, and nobody could find 4 bullets onto the Wamai, and he goes out swinging. He doesn't go out at all, as he goes down to the ground and taking 4 of the attackers into the grave with him. Wow. Happy feet from him. Really took care of that Monty. Wow, that's a round that needs to be reevaluated by Alberta.
I reevaluated Alberta. Oh my god, I can't even talk right now. Reevaluated by us on the desk. I want to watch that one back myself at a later time and just go, what exactly went down here? And it was just Takeo just fragging and slashing and just going to town. Honestly, I was like, okay, you know, he gets a pick, he gets a second pick, but then he goes and gets the melee onto the, like, okay. That was another, and then finds another one immediately after. Wow.
What a round.
I guess I want to watch that one back. And yeah,
that's one for the records.
Yeah.
That's one for the records. Moving on to the next round.
Finally moving on into round number 8, SFU leading the charge. We are seeing the Tuberau getting pulled on out this time around. So another new operator coming on in here. Excited to see this one. Another one who pretty often gets banned from what I've been seeing.
I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a 50-50 now coming in from the new bans. There's a lot to consider now with your aspects. You only have 4 opportunities. We have SFU just dancing around in the bathtub, but it's very critical and very imperative that you find those 4 bans that really work for you. You get 2 bans when you boil it down to individual teams, 1 attacker, 1 defender, and it's very important you pick correctly, because if you do not, you'll get punished if somebody decides to main an operator such as Blackbeard, Azami, or Ying. These operators are chaos agents. One of them can reshape the map completely. The other one covers so much ground with a fully automatic gun behind a shield, and one of them has black eye cameras that you can barely see in Ying's with the flashes. It's absolutely broken, but early engagement here. No matter the gun, you'll always see Doggo with an engagement here. Capitao deciding to look up in Floorbank, but not get the engagement. The smoke really had an easy kill here and decides to leave it for better pastures. And now, SFU has been located and will be trapped.
On the Capitao, firing the bullets right into the bath. That's a little bit of a hot tub right there. Get yourself on out, but not fast enough. Jackie ends up knocking down SFU. It was fun while it lasted. You relaxed as long as you could, but unfortunately, University of Alberta is here to play one man off the board for Simon Fraser, and they are closing in rather swiftly. A minute and a half still to go. They are going to open up this hatch from kitchen, and that's going to give them line of sight down into sight. Still have a couple members chilling around outside, so here should see the execution coming in soon from this team. Finally getting down to that 60-second mark. I mean, take a look at this. All 5 members all still very healthy, if not full HP. I'm sure right now University of Alberta is feeling pretty good. Here comes the push in.
As they get back to basics, they should, if they lose this game, they should get into a basketball career. The frag tosses and the flame tosses have been absolutely beautiful from both teams, really, but the diffuser is going to be rotated onto the Capitao, as he's going to contain 1 flame bolt and 1 smoke bolt. But something they haven't accounted for is the 3 toxic babes in the smoke's corner, and the C4 and the Zoto canisters from the Tabaro, meaning the breach is going to remain closed on the boiler for the remnants of the round until it boils down to the last 15 seconds. Can opener does get placed on the trench breach, allowing them a crouch hole, but a crouch hole is very risky to try to go in, as you get a lot of audio and cue the attackers when to swing and how you're going to want to swing, because the defenders just need to get a C4 through that can opener or play denial. Chubbs gets forced off of the wine cellar corner. Imperative that he stays there, or C4 denies it, as that's exactly where you need to plant. Hot Chocolate gets a pick onto Jackie, making it even harder, but a C4 from Chubbs takes care of one. Takeo takes care of the next, and Gridlock gets a pick. Same with Razors, gets picked out, and Jaeger finds the final kill on 2 kills to deny the round. He's quick and swift with it. 1 kill, 2 kill, and he'll call it a round. What an execute.
Right,
What a
it's
cue.
Takeo on the cleanup yet again. Honestly, just putting in some work. And I think this just goes back to saying, you know, this is Simon Fraser's map pick. Clearly, they have some idea in mind, and maybe it's just let Takeo run wild. I think he came out of the first half 3 and 4. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm pretty
No, I
sure
think he did. I think he did.
Yeah. And is now sitting, let's take a look, 11 and 5. I think he's yeah, I mean, I think this is just Simon Fraser's game plan altogether. He's putting in absolute work, looking phenomenal. I want to keep seeing it. I want to see the action. I want to see Takeo moving around and just hunting down these members of University of Alberta. It's looking great so far. They have a 2-round lead, and they are closing themselves in on that match point.
Credit where credit is due, though, Zach. You do see Alberta have 3 rounds of their own. You don't really see that a lot when it comes to playing in for your first time into a season. they've had the responses of their own. They've had a fragger of their own. Jackie 11-5, tied up here with the KO for stats. He only has one more assist than Jackie. So far, we're not seeing too much of a lopsided matchup, but there is some finer points that need to be refined from the University of Alberta, as those late round executes have started to get slower and slower, and finding the utility has been a little bit sloppier because that Subaru with the Zoto canisters really put a wedge in how they wanted to push, and hopefully more droning will be the problem solver of that effect.
Yeah, you know, something that you really did mention was that Tubero and the smoke and how it just completely shut down that whole half of the map from getting pushed into. And I think that's something that University of Alberta needs to be looking at. It's like, okay, we can't just funnel all of our util in, or actually all of our players, I should say, in from this one side if they have those options available to them. We do see the smoke getting brought back into play. This time, though, no two route on the table. I mean, I don't think you really need it when you're not running, you know, the same site. You're up on the second floor now. This time, you don't really need to bunker down, but they do have some traps with the Legion, so some goo mines that you got to worry about. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I'm almost wondering, it's like, you know, if you're seeing an operator like this two route, do you need to like change it up and bring in maybe a Maverick, or just even approach from multiple different angles at once and try to collapse on the site at the same time? Because it really felt like SFU was able to focus all their attention towards that back garage and be like, okay, we can kind of just hold down over here. And Alberta's not trying to approach from the opposite end. They're not trying to approach from main.
As we are seeing SFU, though, with a lack of wall deny, I do think that Tabara with the Zoto canisters could keep that office breach closed for a little bit longer. Bringing the C4 and a DMR as well, it's not only for his ability. Early engagement on here does allow Jackie to find Chubbs. Heard him off the audio, takes care of him with the goo mines in the pocket. That's crucial to getting rid of a player and the utility that he carries, allowing him to rotate off and now just worry about the Vigil. But guess what? The Vigil is back in sight, and it's all about who can get the next pick here onto Solar, because if the attackers can manage to double the differential, which they cannot, as Decay will get one off that big window, releasing some of the pressure. Can he find the second? But taking some damage from K9 is going to allow him to get absolutely clamped down. Sfu responding with a kill of his own. Psych taking one, Hot Chocolate getting another one, and it's absolute mayhem in sight. It all boils down to the last 40 seconds of the round every single time. There's not a dull moment in this game when it boils down to below that 1 minute mark, and it looks like the round has been confirmed, as there's not much you can do when you do not have the case. Two flashes in a staircase covered in barbed wire, and operators with shotguns just circling around.
Well, we're gonna hope for the best right now for...
Oh!
Never mind. Take a look at that one. Okay, there you go. Okay, good. I just had to watch that one back one more time, you know, as I'm wishful thinking for our final member of the... Okay, we're moving on into match point right now for Simon Fraser on their map choice. I'm sure they're feeling pretty good about this one. We'll see. They're going to be heading over to the first floor bar gaming, though, and I gotta say, the first time we did see this, they looked pretty solid on it.
They did have the Mira, they had the Wamai, they had the Jaeger. What more could you ask for? Now, instead of bringing that second shield from the Warden, you gotta put a round of applause together, because guess what? Now they have that mute to counter the Flores. That's what you get for learning from your mistakes. You're going to get a better hold upstairs now, with a better risk, and you're allowing yourself to learn, essentially, with these pushes and how the other team plays. And that's imperative to being a better team, and that's exactly what they'll do. Pogo will be on the jammers. That will help them prevent Mezzanine from being lost so fast, and it all really depends on how long they can keep it held down, because the longer they can take away, the more seconds they can burn off the clock, the more rush the attackers have to be, the less droning they can do, the less utility they can use, and the more they'll be focused on just trying to get that diffuser down. So it all really boils down in how we can see Pogo and the players upstairs in Library can compose themselves to keeping it held down for as long as humanly possible.
You know, something you mentioned was bringing in of this mute and the change-up that ended up coming in, and something that I like to mention all the time that I kind of like to sit back and reflect on is you attack how you defend a lot, and you defend how you attack a lot as a player. You know, I'm going to look for spawn peeks because I like to spawn peek. So when I'm going in for the offense, I'm checking the windows, I'm checking the doors, I'm checking the corners. I'll tell you who wasn't, though. Doggo Pogo was not checking for the spawn peaks, and as I'm mentioning it, down goes Doggo Pogo. Very unfortunate. Or he was the one on the spawn peak. Unlucky. Nonetheless, you attack how you defend how you attack. So when you look at kind of those Flores drones over there for that Run out real quick. Does he end up connecting onto it? You know, there's not a dull moment right now. I think you said I can't even like break down something and have my own moment to philosophy. You know, like, you know, I want to just make stuff up right now and have a good time with it. And they're like, no, we're just gonna kill each other.
Yeah, Pogo getting fried early off a spawn peak. SMG-11 in the pocket. No business really to stick your face at a door against a fully automatic AR with an ACOG slapped onto it. That was the first kill. He loses his C4. Hasn't been too hot recently. We haven't seen Pogo on the board as fast as he was when he was on attack. We see Yesfu go with a very ballsy run out to take care of the Flores. That is a good trade as he does take care of the person who can take care of his shields. And now all they have to worry about is the projectiles. They have that Ash and they have the Selmer breaches. If the Ace decides to waste them, it will be a waste of utility. The first breach gets wasted. The second breach will also get caught. That's exactly what I mean by learning how your defenders and your attackers play. It's a 4-on-3, but right now, the defenders have the upper hand in terms of utility, positioning, and time. The Selmas are getting breached and getting zapped out the sky as well. First mirror does get popped, but does that really matter when this shield is still up? Protected by a jammer, 2 ADSs and another disc coming up. And now the two defenders that are sitting near billiards and in the stockroom connector have nothing to do but just wait for the execute.
This is exactly what you want. Now, 2 minutes wasted right here on this shield. I see 3 people sitting up there. Jackie ends up finally knocking down Takeo off there. Unfortunately, poked his head up a little bit too far. And with only 2 defenders right now remaining for SFU, University of Alberta is feeling pretty confident about this one. And honestly, I think they looked pretty solid the first time around as well. It just came down to a couple unfortunate gunfights right at the end. They got library control very quickly and were able to get into sight nice and swiftly. But time ticking down now, 30 seconds to see if they have a little bit cleaner approach this time around. You can feel the drop coming. One coming around from main. The Monty's pushing into sight with Diffuser. Does end up meeting onto the Jaeger. Hot Chocolate eats some damage from behind. Chubbs goes down. Hot Chocolate is there as well. And it looks like University of Alberta are able to pull it back one more round still. Holding on to that match point.
Is this the greatest debut I've ever seen? Because he's at 15 kills right now. His crosshair placement is absolutely beautiful. Whether it's countering a spawn peak, aiming in between the debris of bricks between the blue stairs and his shield, or just frying somebody off the connector. This man, Jake, is for the job, or Jackie, my apologies, is the man for the job every single time, as every engagement we've seen ends up with him victorious and the other person dead. But 2 defender picks very early on into the round is going to be the reason the attackers won that very early on. Losing your C4, your operator with a shotgun, and the man to deny most of your utility is going to be the reason they managed to confirm it. But right now, Alberta has some fight left in them, but SFU just needs to perfect and tweak their holds one more time to take it home. 7-5 or 7-4 if they can manage to take it right here, right now.
They have a Scopos. This is interesting. I like it. Okay, I'm here for it. I'm down to see what you're cooking up over here. They did end up bringing back in the Tuberao. No smoke this time around, and honestly, I think that was such a critical point of their previous defense down here in the basement, but I guess you can attribute that to your enemy is going to adapt to how you're defending, so let's adapt before them to adapt to their adaptations, maybe? Let's, you know, try to 5-brain them, galaxy brain it, and see if we can come out on top of this gamble right now. We'll see if University of Alberta end up coming in with a different approach, or is SFU going to take map number 1?
It seems like for this situation, both teams have that one man of their own where they say there is an ME in team where they're just playing essentially for their frags. You have Jackie only playing Ash on the spear entry, and we saw Poco doing the same exact thing. The only thing that differentiates them both is one of them was on the G3 and one of them's on the R4C. If one of these players do hop off of a frag, the question is what'll happen to the attacker and the defender sided pushes, because we're seeing Pogo not having the R4C, meaning he's not getting kills. We haven't seen him on the board for a couple of rounds since he was either on Bandit or Goyo, but he's been cleared successfully almost every round he's been roaming, and Jackie's been having the time of his life with these clears. The attackers have taken on a better narrative as they're finally going for a top down, which we haven't seen so far, surprisingly, in all 10 rounds we've seen this game. Doing a top down, you clear the roamers, you get the verticality, you get the breaches open, and you can successfully walk into the site without having to worry about the players that are roaming. Only problem with that is there's still a Tabaro on the board and he can deny the breaches.
I have to say though, Takeo has been doing what Takeo does. Looking at the previous season stats, Takeo was one of the big fraggers right now for Simon Fraser. And take a look right now, 12-7-3, looking absolutely phenomenal throughout. I want to say specifically throughout the second half. It really just turned it up. We'll attribute the first few rounds to a warm-up game. Warm-up rounds, we'll get those out of the way, shake off the dust, because I mean, come on, everybody's a little bit rusty after the offseason, but looking quite electric. And we're seeing right now on the other side, Jackie kind of being that big fragger so far here on map number 1. We'll see if both of these stay consistent as we go over towards map 2. Unfortunate, Razors ends up falling down. Gridlock throwing down those tracks into sight. And opener on the wall, the two brow is placing his deployment over there, but it does seem like the University of Alberta was able to break in time.
The Zoto canisters are denied by the can opener and the frags coming in from the hatch. That's how you adapt to a push. Chubbs is just laid out in the middle of the floor doing absolutely nothing, and Jackie will take the face off and punish him for that, almost finding the second on the Capitao, but Hutcho will be the one to snap on and capitalize. Now, allowing anybody and allowing sight to be open game as there's only 2 bodies left in sight. And if you want to flank, now is the time. And SU making himself known, as Ash will be the second body he's going to have to go through to be able to get through to the case. 10 seconds are going to be on the board, but guess what? That's one. That's a double for Hutch. And now the roamer's no more, and the plant's going to get taken down successfully, and it'll be Jackie to close out the round.
How do you say to the enemy team that we just 4v5'd you without telling them that we just 4v5'd you?
Absolutely crucial.
Nicely? Like, do you just like send question marks in chat? What's the toxic Rainbow Six Siege?
Good night.
Good night, yeah. We'll see you one more round. I don't know. It does seem like, there's some confidence coming in from University of Alberta. No pause coming in, and they're just gonna play this one out, huh?
Technical pause has been noted. Might be a rehost in these
There
notes. 4v5 is going to be the name of the game unless we're going to see a rehost, but it's been absolutely crucial so far, as that's confidence that should be needed. That's teamwork to its elite. Using can openers on the far right of the trench breach to be able to get your hands onto the breach and being able to get things done without frags that Gridlock so fast used into the round. 30 seconds in, she lost both of the frags as she was bouncing them down the hatch. It's beautiful how they adapted. They took it home on a 4v5, and that's a well-deserved 5-6. One round to put them into overtime.
They moved in nice and quickly and were able to just cut off a lot of SFU's rotations and just shut them down really from the get-go. And honestly, a well-deserved round right there, bringing them on back. And I mean, closing this gap. They need to win one more in order to tie us on out, to take us on into overtime. But honestly, if they play as cleanly as they did in the previous one, if we start to see some consistency from University of Alberta in that aspect, I think I will, without a doubt, see overtime between these two teams.
I mean, those are some thoughts to hold on to the beginning of the post rehost. And without further being said, everybody go get yourself a drink, some food, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do a jumping jack, because we're going to come back post rehost and I want all the energy to be there for the potential overtime that we'll have, but we'll shortly be back after a break. Now, Zach, what was an interesting couple before rehost, a couple of rounds that were kind of boiling down to just who has the better skill. We're back finally, but I do think we still have some points to talk about before we go onto greater pastures and look to either what's going to be an overtime match or a deadlock for that last round that'll take us to map 2. So, what we saw before is a 4v5 in the favor of University of Alberta where they prospered. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, the way we were looking at it right now is the University of Alberta found their opening. They were able to just push right through. And I kind of want to attribute that back to what we were talking about when University of Alberta was on defense. How they were just way too spread out. And Simon Fraser was able to just push right on in and secure the wins on those. In the last round, it kind of felt a little bit along the lines of that. University of Alberta, they pushed in as a unit. They were able to pick apart Simon Fraser. They were even getting the diffuser down and cleaning up the members. It was like, moving as this controlled unit seems to work. So, what do you think?
I mean, that is basically down to a T. The only thing that I could talk about in a little bit more descriptive is just the statistics that we've been looking at. Everybody has had different ideas of what they want to do. The fraggers have turned into support players. The support players have turned into fraggers. And we've seen shield ops going in backwards to do absolute random pushes that we'll see boil down to the last 20 seconds. We need to see the last round here. SFU needs to put this nail in the coffin, because if they don't, the attackers are going to coordinate a Monty with the Deimos and call it the day and call it theirs to push it into overtime. So I do think it's all about who can get the better coordinated push, because it seems like they've allowed Alberta to take some expansion, some momentum, and some wiggle room to be able to expand, try out new things, and try to potentially force it into overtime.
I love the blitz rush. I love the push in with the Deimos. What you do is you just pick apart a player, or just identify where a player is. You make the Dokebi call to just make sure nobody else is lurking around nearby, and you just push and you just run at that person as hard as you can and force them out of whatever position. I got a feeling it's gonna be our lovely little Frost over here. Might be in a bit of a difficult position if they decide to push on in. And honestly, with the way University of Alberta has been playing, I can see that happening. They're playing as a unit as of that last round. I mean, it looked really great, I want to say. Here comes the push in right now. It does seem like Patchy does want to push on upstairs. Meets a ton of resistance right here. He's got the mute, he's got the Marusi, all just sitting right up here. Not able to just run in as quickly as he had hoped, and it looks like there's going to be more to come once he does end up pushing in even further. This is going to be a tough third floor take.
I mean, not seeing a castle, I think, is even more crucial, considering they almost could just use his death mark and start going for the floor banks, because his pistol is considered a slug. It is absolutely interesting round because he needs to start using his utility, as it's starting to boil down into the last couple of seconds of the round. As he will use his first, Malusi, almost losing her life off piano, is potentially going to lose her life through the floor, as she's going to have to deal with a bunch of verticality if this Deimos could get to it before the Deimos Deathmark decides to run out. Going to the only space that's covered by bricks, she's going to have a bit of a safe haven until the attackers decide to coordinate to the last T, as Blitz has finally made some leeway, some room, some momentum all the way up into Solarium, and he's going to smoke out the closet to be able to try to go in for a push here. He has to keep in mind there is a C4 on the board that has yet to be used yet, and Chubbs has the potential to shut down this push and call it quits.
30 seconds, 35 seconds now, ticking down. Hot Chocolate off the board. Opening pick goes to Patchy, and Vacato ends up finding one. Hotshot finds another one. Man advantage heavily now in favor of University of Alberta. A little bit of damage over onto the Blitz, but I don't think he's too phased as Takeo goes down. Razors ends up getting immediately refragged by Sfu. But it all comes down to the lone Frost, who's getting zoned off by the Blitz. Diffuser goes down, and Patchy finishes it off. We are tied. We are going into overtime here in our very first map of Season 2 here at the Canadian Collegiate League.
I feel like I got flashed a little bit of myself there. But what was supposed to be the round where they needed to lock in turned into the round where they've allowed University to take the lead and run with it. Alberta absolutely locked in now. There's nothing we can speak of on that round because that execute was patient. It was smart, and it was, most importantly, executed to a T. Every single defender who tried to swing, tried to play patient, all got the big price of a bullet in between the eyes. The C4 was used too early. It didn't deny the blitz. It didn't deny the Deimos. It didn't deny anybody, and it was the only one. And with no answers, it just allows the attackers to cover more space and ultimately allowing Alberta to take that win and take it into overtime. Now, I do still think this is one of the best season debuts we've seen so far, as they've decided to bring it a 6-6, being down 3 rounds. They've closed it down.
You know, and I'm looking at what University of Alberta was doing, and I was going to open my mouth, but they immediately decided to change it. I was like, they had this approach of if it works, don't fix it. But now we do see the blitz get dropped for the Capital, and we see the gridlock getting picked up instead of the floor. So, okay, you know, if it works, kind of change it a little bit, and we'll see how it ends up going for them. Gotta be down in this basement. Something I'm noticing, though, is outside of the ace, you really don't have any heart breach right now or way to really open up these walls. So a little interested to see their approach here and exactly which way they're going, because a lot of what we were seeing, at least if when SFU was on offense, they wanted to open up that main breach and then have that angle into sight, or have that idea that this could be an angle into sight at any time right now for them on the offense, while they swooped around from the other side, got other angles, and really divided the attention of the defense. Here it seems like it's going to be a little bit more direct from University of Alberta.
The only thing that there is to speak of here is it's essentially the same push, but they have rotated out an operator to allow them to bring a frag with the gridlock. We only seen her bring the first pair and the last pair her last time around the block, but we are going to see the Deimos to accompany her with the frag grenades. But as you mentioned before, there's too much denial here to only bring this much in terms of hard breaches. You do have the ace, yes, but what do you have to be able to get the walls open? You have Thatcher on the board. So what are you going to do to be able to get it open? Because Kaid, Tabaro, and Bandit, the wall denying heaven trio, is on the board here. It's too much. It's so much, and it's going to allow them to keep the site walls closed for as long as humanly possible. Scopos being on the roam, they need to find that drone, because if they do not, it's going to be absolutely imperative for them to find their picks before the attackers can make their way on the site or decide to start using these Capital flames. I'm surprised we haven't seen Wamai being brought to catch these flames and redirect it back at the defenders, but right now we're just going to have to see who can get the first pick here, as it's a 5-5 stalemate with a minute and 30 seconds burned.
Still a little bit worried to push on in, though, for Vacato. And like you said, we're getting down to that final 60-second mark here in our first round overtime. Slow push down into sight, as we do see Jackie ends up finding, I thought that was me for like 2 seconds. I thought that was somebody else, but it finds his own teammate. Luckily, they are closing in on site. We do see a good bunker down, though, from SFU. They have members on site in blue. Take a look at this. All guns right now pointed towards this back garage, pointed towards the breach that is being attempted right now, but down.
A trench, almost a TK there, as he almost got shot through the can opener. Hutch will get a pick on Hot Chocolate. The C4 won't claim the life of Fat Chai, but it'll get him down to 20 HP, which he will finally be confirmed down. Razor's taking the damage from blue. 2 people, both have ARs. Jaeger and Scopos are going to go out swinging as Akato takes out one and takes care of Pogo on that bandit with his C4, and the flames are going to get used to push the people off of blue, and now it's all about who can get into the site, who can get that diffuser down, and it will be the ace assigned with that task, as the C4 will miss, and right now the defenders have to scramble to get past the flames and get past the bodies that are holding them at bay, but they cannot do that, as Jackie will hold out one right now, gets beamed down, back down to 20 HP. 2 of these attackers are low, but Hutcha doesn't matter, as he's at 100 and Patchai's at 20, and he'll fry both of them down, and they finally woken up, and right now the action just doesn't stop.
It doesn't matter. I mean, look at that window that the offense had. University, they opened up that wall so perfectly, and I'm so surprised that it even happened. We talked about the Bandit, the Kaid, and the Tubero all available to deny the breach. How did the breach even happen? How did we even allow this to happen? It was just a mere ace, right? Surely this one ace isn't enough to get past 3 wall denials, right? I mean, that's what you would hope for, but they were able to open it up so beautifully, and the line of sight clean across sight was just way too much for the defense. We're going to be swapping sides now. University of Alberta, he's going to be over on defense instead. They don't want that basement site. They're going to go back to this first floor site that we saw them go to time and time again.
seems to be a fan favorite at this point, as this has been the preferred site for everybody. But now what I am seeing is finally the traditional hold. Castle, Wamai, Mute, and Warden have all been brought. No Mira, but that's okay because you have 2 shields now to deny Mezzanine. These holds can vary depending on how hard you want to hold that 3rd floor. The shields allow you to be able to drop the hatch without sacrificing the Mira in case of a late round roam or a late round flank. So right now it's the perfect balance between keeping everybody locked down out of sight and keeping your bodies alongside with your utility without having to sacrifice too much within the first minute. We've seen first frags go down way too often against the favor of the defenders, which is absolutely crucial for those late round pushes. And right now, it's all going to boil down to who will get the first pick onto Trench, as Nook will find the whereabouts very, very slowly onto the castle.
I do want to bring back the note from what feels like ages ago. If Jackie gets the double kill at the start of the round, University of Alberta wins the defense, right? Then that's what we said. It's kind of how that wins.
Prophecy. It's the prophecy.
The prophecy, exactly. It's been written in the scriptures. So we'll see if that does end up happening. I mean, he's already 1-0, but I mean, take a look at across the board for University of Alberta. They're doing pretty good after these previous 2 rounds. Do have a good lockdown though from the defense. It's going to be difficult for SFU to push on in. They have a very frag heavy roster, I want to say here.
Right now, we are going to be looking at them try to get that utility cleared, but right now, Castle's going to drive a wedge in between the sneak up the west main stairs to get some leeway onto the 45 hall, and the prone here might catch Nook off guard, but she will slowly save her life without knowing it, and will go back on that drone. Now, having the whereabouts at the castle, she needs to make progress by herself and by herself only, as all of the attackers are now looking to take care of the mezzanine, K9, piano, and the library windows that either are all castled off or closely monitored by the defenders. Now, everybody here is either safe by a jammer or in a position where they can rotate back to site perfectly. It's all about how much time you can waste here, and Alberta's done this absolutely perfectly, as they've wasted almost 1 minute and 30 seconds making the attacker second guess every single position they have. The only damage we've seen is a long exchange between an ACOG and a holographic from K9 into deep library, and right now they're in a beautiful position to just wait out the attackers and play to their mistakes.
Take us back to the first half of the map, why don't you, where it seems that we get down to the final 20 seconds before SFU decides to push on in. 1 member off the board, though Sfu ends up getting knocked on out for a little bit of damage over in his return. Gonna be very heavily in favor of University of Alberta. They have the man advantage, they're chilling now, and it seems like they're still holding control everywhere that they want. I'm feeling really good right.
My apologies.
No, you're fine.
Accidental hatch drop here. He's behind him. The headset hasn't been bought yet. He's using AirPods as Chubbs gets a double, and they found their way into sight, and it's a 1v4. What was looking so good, it didn't matter if the double kill. The prophecy was not fulfilled, as it's a 1v4, and it looks like we're going to 7-7 OT in the first map.
Like we said, you need the double kill on Jackie in order to win the defensive round for University of Alberta. Man, everybody was kind of just caught off guard there. Both us, both SFU, not even SFU, University of Alberta. The Frost sitting over there was at Vacato, sitting over on the stairs, getting caught out from behind. Unbelievable. And right now, Diffuser down. It's looking like a 7-7 going into that overtime. That's going to put it away. Chubbs finishes off Hutcha, and we are going in to the extended overtime.
What a round. A round so much so that we're just seeing tosses from within. Apparently, the Frost didn't hear the fattest attacker that has projectiles fall down a hatch, fully rotate around her, and put the gun down her back. That was a very interesting exchange that we saw that ultimately led to the downfall of Alberta, but they managed to take it to overtime. Can they put that nail in the coffin? They've been managing to keep up, but right now they haven't been able to get that final push to put themselves on the board for a map.
Here we go. Finally, round 15. You know how everybody in chat or on the poll was saying that this was a 50-50 game? Yeah, I mean, I can see why. Right now we are sitting at the deadlock 50-50, 7-7. It's just gonna be like this all night, isn't it? This is only map 1, Zeno! Only map 1!
We're going to be here for a while as we're going to be seeing some early exchanges every single round. What we think is going to be an early kill turns into a long kill, what turns into a last 30-second kill where everybody decides to Hail Mary themselves into the site. If there were referees right now, they'd be throwing flags on every single play, as every single thing, every single play we've seen here boils down to the last 20 seconds after the first engagement, which will get a defender and attacker down to 20 HP, but it'll have no punishment and no capitalization off of those early engagements, which is starting to destroy the pushes for both teams, because this is starting to get a little bit weird.
I want to say this is SFU's map. They planned for this defense, but I mean, we looked at the back half of those defensive rounds and it just felt like things started to fall apart. University of Alberta was pulling together with this offense, and take a look. Remember what I said, if it works, don't fix it. Look what we have in this lineup for these operators, okay? We have the Dokebi, we have the Blitz, we have the Deimos, the Ace, and last but not least, the Flores. They have the lineup right here. That was their tried and true. This is what's been winning them rounds. So if I'm a University of Alberta fan, I'm feeling pretty good. If I'm an SFU fan, I'm like, okay, what kind of adaptations are we going to be making? What kind of adjustments are we going to make if we're SFU?
I can't imagine the coaches of SFU can be too happy, because they had that match point for a couple of rounds there, and they've yet to capitalize. We've seen massive areas of improvement where it's just come boiled down to the last post plants. They haven't been able to capitalize. And when it's come to utility game, we've seen Alberta take care of them every single time around. But the responses from SFU are something we need to give a round of applause for, because they're very good at adapting to a push, taking care of the 1v1s when needed. But right now, we see the same staple operators that Alberta leaves with their singular trademark of bringing the pair of Deimos with the Blitz, and we're going to see Hutcha on the Ace, and the Flores will be there to start depriving the defenders of all the utility they have placed.
A lot of opportunities, but we are getting down 2 minutes off the board, and a slow push in coming in from University of Alberta. Still members sitting outside, trying to get angles, trying to get eyes into sight. Finally now, Patchy does push up into the top floor on that solarium, and it meets face to face with a smoke. Not the best thing you want to be seeing right now if you're going for this style of push. I mean, look at this. The entirety of University of Alberta is just kind of chilling here, aside from one member sitting all the way on the opposite end. This smoke's going to delay them for quite a lengthy amount of time, 45 seconds on the clock, and he still has another canister sitting around in pocket.
C4, again, not prioritized, not used correctly, and that's going to be something to speak about post-match, as the Toxic Babes are doing a beautiful job at holding the attackers, and Svu, doesn't matter, Toxic Babes or SMG11, he'll find one, instantly refragged out by Hutcha, and right now, the second pick will go down to Vikeo, he'll take out Dogo, and right now, he's in sight, but completely unaware there's a man sitting close in the corner on him, nobody's watching his crosses, he'll get the easy hit fire to get that case down. Second kill goes to Patchy, 3v2, 3v1 as Vikeo gets it, and it looks like Alberta might have it, but is this the craziest? There's no way he'll do it again! Almost gets him off the big window, but the Blitz will be the chaos, trying to get the push, the plant down, but it's so easy for you, Chocolate, as you'll confirm it. And SFU from the ashes has one player rise and beat everybody in a 1v4 situation.
He sat in the closet, did it once, did it twice, ran away, came back, did it a third time. He can't keep getting away with that. What was that? That was miserable. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words right now. I mean, great job, Hot Chocolate. You are definitely heating up.
That might have been better than the Wamai 1v4, confided in that little connector space. An absolute clutch to speak of. You were struggling to get and capitalize on your match point, and finally, when it all came down to being the most important man in the room, you capitalized and you took it home, and that's SFU for map 1.
You take your own map, it's great, but we still have 1, maybe 2 more maps to go. We're gonna go to a quick intermission before we head on over to Consulate, University of Alberta's pick. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Make sure to follow, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on in as we head on over into map number 2 of our matchup tonight. Simon Fraser University leading the charge against University of Alberta. I'm Zach Vexel, still here on the desk with Sino. How are we feeling after that last map?
A mix of emotions is the least I can say. I could write
Yes.
you out an essay about that. We've seen the Malusi, the hip-firing demon, take it from a 1v4 or 2v4 in that situation, but took all 4 bodies into her own hands and got rid of the plant. Absolutely beautiful, and Dush sets the tone on what we are to expect for the next upcoming rounds.
Next upcoming rounds, like we said, going to be over on Consulate, a map that's, I would say, not as roam heavy as the Chalet, but still, you need to have a lot of information. You still need to cover your sixes. You still need to spread out a little bit. Are we expecting these teams who honestly both spread out pretty significantly to tone it back in a little bit and go for a little bit more of a turtle style? Because I feel like even on Chalet, they started to switch over to that style, get more members towards site, onto site for these defenses, and it looked a lot better in my opinion.
I do think, Zach, the main thing we can capitalize on and the main thing we can highlight is both teams have a very big tendency to just switch up their plays. They don't really go for the same thing twice. It's always different and they always do something different. And I think that is crucial for a map like Consulate. Personally, seeing Consulate as a map is just not fun to look at when it comes to taking care of the bands and taking care of the operators when it comes to the plays. It's absolutely crucial to take care of certain players, certain operators, and sometimes not even allowing them to get into the map by taking care of them in the band phase. So Consulate is a map that is needed to be delicated and taken care of to a absolute feather's touch, or you're going to see massive problems as we've seen from Alberta and SFU last game. So I think not having a map as easy as Chalet next up is going to take us to either a 7-7 again, or some team's going to get blown out.
Something that's very interesting to me is, we have Chalet and we have Bank, which I would say are two more dominantly defender-sided maps. Consulate, well, I do believe in the pro statistics, leans a little bit more towards defender-sided. I believe it's the closest to 50% out of the 3 maps that we end up having. So I believe this one could really go either way, offensive, defensively. It just depends on what these teams decide to bring to the table, how well they actually coordinate and work together in order to get these executes down, because I think that's what's going to be necessary. So far in the bans, we see the exact same thing. The Blackbeard, the Ying, the Azami. Show me Valkyrie in this last spot for SFU's ban. And that's not Valkyrie. Guys, Valkyrie looks a little bit more sickly. I don't know.
Purple?
Looks masculine.
Purple, if you would take. Valkyrie looking a little bit different, a little bit of a makeover. But allowing her to stay on the board is absolutely crucial for those late round pushes, those late round C4s from Vert. And right now, we've already seen the first problem that the defenders are going to have to deal with. They've allowed Monty and Grim to stay on the roster. Ying is a very crucial operator, yes, but with her recent nerf where she cannot cook the Candelas no longer, is it really more valuable to take her out rather than the Grim, the man who can basically give you wall hacks and live pings on anybody walking through those Bs? Something to talk about here if they do decide to go for a rush plant, but the Jaeger ADSs and the Mute Jammers will prevent those Grims from getting sent in. The question is, can they hold down the Yellow Hall and the Admin Hall as long as they possibly can?
The one thing that's kind of throwing the thorn in my side is this Twitch. It does feel a little bit out of place in the lineup for University of Alberta. I mean, we were talking about how they have this Grim, this Monty, they used to blow things up the Deimos to go for the clear. I just feel like there's a lot of, we want to push in, we want to go forward, and when I see this Twitch alongside of this roster, I'm kind of feeling like, okay, we want to slow down, we want to clear utility, we want to, take our time moving on in, and I just am kind of curious after the previous map, is that what these two teams really feel is going to be necessary? I mean, take a look at the defensive side of things. We've got the Malusi, we've got the smoke. That right there, plenty of slowdown, and I mean, we saw how they were playing the smoke on site, both of these teams, a lot of potential to just slow things down, extend things out for a period of time, but take a look at the significant amount of information that they're going to be having, though, with, well, I mean, not the Jaeger. Down goes to KO. Jackie ends up getting the opening pick of this one, the Deimos already doing his thing.
I really don't know what to say. Wasn't unlucky, it was just Wow. Pure knowledge of the map is stick your face in a wall that's soft, and he gets wallbanged to meet his maker, and Jaeger will get taken off the board, but guess what? Easy C4 kill for the Valkyrie if she can manage to get below without having to deal with a roamer. Jaeger going down nice and easy does allow the admin push to get pushed in. The suicide breach is going to remain closed, but right now the attackers have made leeway. The triple breach is soft. Cafeteria is soft. And not a single defender seems to care, but they're still down to body. And they're going to have to care because they do not have that shield sitting close, and there is a shield lock to deal with closer.
A difficult one indeed, but like you said, I think they're kind of chilling. My only worry, though, is the amount of pressure that University of Alberta is pushing on from this one side, from admin. We saw similar back on the previous map where a team would just be pushing from one angle, and they're not able to break through a single foothold. And right now, it just seems like this junction is going to be that foothold. How much time is going to be wasted right here for University of Alberta? Can they just cross this hallway? I'll tell you who can't. Sfu. Down goes Sfu. And remember what we said, if Jackie gets the double at the start of the round, baby, you know what's about to happen.
Replace smoke grenade might be able to deny that prophecy, but it doesn't seem as that 8K in the pocket and in the hands of Jackie have been absolutely lethal. No post plant denial is going to be on the board here, as for some reason the two players with the C4s are going to remain upstairs and in the site. Grims are going to locate the mute, which is ironic considering his ability can counter it. Nobody on the suicide breach, but you have to stay weary as you're still going to stay on the life pings, and they're wrapping around. The sharks are circling around the minnows. The diffuser's going to go down. 25 seconds left on the board as the defenders are down 2 bodies. Hot Chocolate finally opening up the killing spree for the attack, or for the defenders, but a triple kill from Jackie instantly shut that down again. Double differential, but shut down by Pogo, and Monty will be the one to circle the block and try to find him, but Vaquedo will find a pick, forcing Pogo back into the connector breach, allowing Monty to get the easiest kill of his life. Trapped in a breach, there's nothing to do except pray you can find this Monty before the Monty will find you, and as he'll extend his shield, turning his attention away, Vaquedo will shoot him in the back and call the first round.
When you are just the lone player and the Monty's approaching the door that you need to get through, you're just like, no, 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 no. Move, get out of my way. Oh, it was just well executed, you know, and I was erring on the side of caution because, yes, I was very worried that University of Alberta was not going to be able to push through that hallway. They weren't able to clear that one gap, but, you know, the second Sfu turned the corner, I just feel like that opened up the entire map for University of Alberta. They were able to get 2-man down situation for SFU. That alone right there is just significant. And for what? I believe nobody on University of Alberta took any damage up to that point in time. So 2 free picks, everybody's still healthy, 100%. We're able to just walk right in, push on through, and it just divides the attention of SFU so significantly. I mean, we saw the results right there, first round for University of Alberta.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm a little new to Collegiate. Is Thorn an unbreakable prophecy? We see her being brought, but I've never seen a Razor Bloom go off within the first 3 minutes of the round and 3 minutes of the entirety. I don't see Razor Blooms going off. They're easily dronable. They're easy to shoot, especially when they're not paired up with barbed wire or banshees. Why is Thorn brought so much?
Well, they have banshees. As you can tell.
They do, but they're not paired up. They're not paired up.
Very fair, you know. I mean, I'm hoping these two coordinate that because I'm kind of on the same page with the Thorn. I feel like it's a very simple trap, but it's a very deadly one if you're able to get it off. It's like cool. I mean, which would you rather have at the end of the day? You know, maybe a Frostmat, you have a better gun, you have just a better operator in general, in my opinion. It's a little bit more difficult for those Frostmats to get spotted out, especially if somebody's not paying attention. They're trying to clear a widen path through a doorway, or, you know, you even just go for a Legion, which is something that's going to give information, that's also going to, you know, delay the push, that's also going to cause just instant damage to somebody. So I think there's a lot of options for trapping operators, and I have to say Thorn isn't the first on my mind. A minute already off the clock, though. The offense pushing on in nice and steadily, and guess who gets the opening pick? It's Jackie, ladies and gentlemen.
It's match fixing. It has to be. Always the first pick. Always finds 1 or 2. Can he find the second onto Spyro? Because if he does, You know what that means. It's gonna go in the favor of Alberta, as right now, Takeo not meeting his maker too early into the round, as he'll keep Cafeteria and Break Room kept down to himself and keep this long L haul to himself. No shield on the vending machine, but prioritized on the long desk instead is going to prevent anybody from swinging out admin too fast. Verticality from the Buck would make you think they're going for a vert hold and try to go in for a quick plant, but that isn't possible, as right now, you don't need to plant if you're just murdering the attackers on site, and one of them being your critical C4 carriers. You're going to have vert. You're able to use a death mark and find the players as well. And it looks like the defenders are playing the floor as love, as they have to run around and hope to God they don't fall to either the Deimos or the Buck soft breach. Moving on over to yellow, there's live pings on Dokkaebi, but right now she's in a position where she can just relax and wait for that diffuser to go down, or wait for the attackers to go for the gunfight. But Goyo and Malusi not waiting, as they're going to go for the early engagement and cannot flash fast enough, as Pogo will find the pick and allows them to reset.
2-1 situation in the man down column. Right now, man advantage heavily in favor of University of Alberta. 30 seconds, though, ticking down on the clock. We need the members of University of Alberta push on in, start closing in on this site, because time is ticking down. We're getting into that final scenario. Vacato finds Doggo Pogo. 2 members remaining for the defense. Are they able to get 2 rounds up right out of the gate? I'm sure it's going to feel good on the opposing map pick, but Chubbs does find Hutcha. Closing it down ever so slightly. Look what happened. It's the Thorn. Spoo ends up finding Patchy. Jackie ends up finding Takeo. 1 member remaining for the defense. It all comes down to Chubbs on this Malusi with the diffuser going down. Does not seem like it's going to be able to get stopped. Slow push in from Chubbs. Tries to get fragged out by Jackie. Not able to do so with the diffuser down. I'm wishing the best of luck to this Malusi. Deimos drone going down. You have been spotted. The hunt is on. And down. He doesn't go.
Oh,
down
he wins the
goes
gunfight.
Deimos.
It boils down to the last 10 seconds. He needs to get the kill because of the fuse time from the diffuser. He could just play 1-2, ring around the rosy, but Vacato doesn't have time for that, as he'll mow down the Malusi trying to bait out the diffuser. What a royal almost toss from Jackie. The fragger himself, boiling from within, cooking everybody that gets in his path, but that whiff almost led to the downfall of Alberta. But that's 2 rounds in their hands, and it's been beautiful from them. Nothing too much to talk about, except for the fact that I was wrong, I'll admit. The Razor Bloom found a kill, and it almost put a wedge in the University of Alberta's attacks.
Man, boom, 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 boom. My heart was racing as soon as the Deimos missed those shots. As soon as Jackie missed that, I was like, oh, no, no, no. Is it about to happen? Are we going to see a nice little clutch out or diffuse situation? Are they going to be able to pull this one on out? But no, I mean, it's still very difficult when you got that vert, when you have somebody sitting right outside the window. I mean, that's the setup of dreams. You know, that's exactly where you want to be if you are in a post-plant situation. So great job for University of Alberta. And I mean, like we mentioned, the Thorn did more than we thought it would. So huge surprise there. Here's a trap operator. I was expecting a little bit more throughout both of these maps so far. The Capcan getting pulled down out. Now, I know he doesn't have that nitro cell, but he has so much utility. Honestly, when I saw the nerf coming in with the removing of the nitro, I wasn't surprised. I thought this is such a fantastic operator. I see him in every single one of my games.
I mean, leave it up to Ubisoft to have 35 bad patches, then 1 amazing one. I do agree. It was a very good patch, and you read my thoughts exactly. Capcan does have more passive utility now, but now with you having a Mira, a Tabaro, and a Bandit on the board, you still contain 3 C4s within your defensive setup. Now, that allows you to have some wiggle room, and we're going to see that wiggle room being prioritized for proximities to find anybody trying to walk down the stairs, and trying to find the barbed wire, which will also notify you when people walk down the stairs, which is absolutely beautiful considering they're going to be pushing into this utility exactly. IQ has been brought, but will it find the Capcan drops before it'll find the attackers? And Monty will be the main receiver of these EDDs if he can manage to worm his way through one. And the attackers are going to be at a deficit until IQ decides to use her ability, which he so far has not done.
This is really interesting that there's not any focus put over onto this server side. Yeah, you know, you have some Capcan traps thrown about, but it really feels like a lot of the attention was kind of pulled away. We do see the mirror window over off of kitchen, so I mean, maybe an opportunity there for a little bit of a defense, but take a look at how swiftly the offense is pushing in right now. University of Alberta closing in ever so swiftly, I want to say, on the site. is going to be putting SFU in a little bit of a hard point. What are you still doing outside, Vacato? Your entire team's inside, and Doggo Pogo has ended up finding you. That's going to be opening pick for SFU, and I mean, that's going to be the Dokebi off the board as well.
Early engagement, for some reason, outside, but early engagement allows Pogo to find his first kill. A very late round flank. This is the pain of not having a Nomad or a Gridlock on the board. Chocolate actually doesn't have to move. He could wait here for the Monty to worm his way in through lunch or calf to manage to get the flank going. But when he does do this, when he gets it done, he potentially has the ability to find 3 frags. But the thing he has to do is do it fast before the attackers get paranoid and ask where that last defender is. But right now, he does exactly what I say. He times it perfectly. Razors gets a consolidation kill. Cannot stop the bleeding as he'll find one. He'll find the second. Almost being able to find the Monty, but Patchai just decides to pull out his gun and deciding that the P9 is enough to find a headshot, and it is indeed. Cannot stop the overwhelming effects of that DMR brought by the Tomorrow, and right now it's all about who can position themselves better. 3v2, the defenders have the upper hand. It's all about playing your time. No C4 in the bandit's hands, but he's going to be the main line of defense to finding a body, but almost a TK. He gets a headshot, and Chubbs finds the next. Monty getting shot with a curved bullet around the shield. Perfect positioning there from the bandit, and the IQ getting taken out by the smoke will confirm out the round. And finally, SFU have gotten themselves on the board.
I want to attribute as much of that as I can to Hot Chocolate swinging around and being able to find those 2 picks off the back end of server. But it's like, you know, is that Hot Chocolate making phenomenal play? Yes, you did good. I'm really proud of you. But what happened, University of Alberta? You walk through, you cleared that whole hallway, and then you just give it up entirely, and you have 3 bodies facing in the complete opposite direction, putting your back towards it. How do you allow a defensive member to walk all the way around there, get behind you like that? I think that's more so negligence on University of Alberta in that instance. It was just catastrophic, and we saw how much of a, honestly, an opening and a wedge that put into the offense, and that just completely offset everything that they want to do. Great job, great recognition from Hot Chocolate, great recognition from SFU. I'm really glad they were able to pull that one out, and now they got themselves here on the board going into round number 4.
I mean, it's an absolute beauty they managed to do it in round 3, or not 4 or 5, because they'd still have to lead and go down by 2 rounds. But right now, they have to learn how to hold this floor. They're going to stay adamant about keeping it up. They could have went Grand Piano, considering they still have the Mira and the Umai on the board, but they will not. But reinforcing this triple wall is a great first step, as we've seen them fail to do that the last 2 times around. Stopping the attackers in their tracks before they can get into the admin area. Maybe some aggression is needed, and that's exactly what we're going to need to see. But with the suicide breach open, I'm pretty sure we might see a run out here for anybody trying to rappel up on the admin windows.
The rappel coming on up, and no run out as of yet. There's the 30-second mark. Does not seem like anybody is ready for that one, waiting downstairs. So good on them, I guess. You know, maybe it's a little bit of a bait. I tend to do that myself, you know, just gonna prep the window, make them think that you're gonna go that way. I mean, you can kind of attribute that to when we were looking for open up the main breach and let them just believe that somebody's gonna be pointing a gun down that side, even though you just swoop around from the other side. We saw, oh god, who did it in the previous map? I want to say it was SFU over there back when we were on Chalet. It was too long ago at this point right now. We're 60 seconds through round number 4 here on our second map, Consulate. And University of Alberta is leading the charge here on their own map. Yes, on their own map. We're good. I know where we are.
60 seconds, and you sound like you're 60 with that memory, but right now we have them trying to lock down the admin hall. Some damage dealt to Racers. That's finally some progress for SFU. They're finally locking down and sticking up for themselves on that push into admin, not allowing them to come out of meeting or admins or anywhere in that case. We're gonna have Hot Chocolate on the vert, might be the person here to deny anybody trying to walk in. Not seeing the drone, neglecting it completely. It isn't seen, but the Rotero charge does get EMP'd upstairs, and right now the attackers need to find a pick, which it looks like they're getting closer and closer to doing, as they've dealt damage to Pogo and to KO, and right now having him on bending is absolutely beautiful, but not much you can do there, as that Flores drone would be sure to claim your life if you were to stay there. Can't walk across back to Spiral, you'll be shot from the skylight, and now the attackers have finally confirmed their ground in trying to walk in through the long desk. It's all about who can add the pressure in from areas that you do not want the defenders in.
I think that right there, that play comes down a lot to the coordination of the offense, okay? Had somebody been watching that angle, waiting for the Flores drone to flush the individual out, they could have gotten a pick right there. And I'm kind of wondering, how well is this communication going on for University of Alberta? What are their comms like right now? I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, they're sitting round up on offense. They haven't even gotten to defense on their own map right now, and it looks like it's going to be 2 rounds up because they are moving swiftly, knocking down the members of this defense. 20 seconds to go. Takeo's off the board. Doggo Pogo's off the board. The Deimos is hunting. They're looking for another 15 seconds on the clock, and we're getting ready for the push in. Vacato, though, eats a significant amount of damage, ends up going on down to Svu, but Patchy ends up finding Hot Chocolate with 5 seconds left to go. Do we see the diffuser? We see one member down. The diffuser's getting planted. Chubbs ends up going down to Hutcha, and it all comes down to Svu the Thorn, who we undermined before. But down he goes to Jackie, and now University of Alberta are up 3-1.
It all comes full circle. They're paying for bringing the Thorn, essentially not a Frost, is what I think. But right now, they're losing their ones at every single corner. It's not like it comes down to the last 30 seconds of the round where it's going to be 1 for 1 for 1. It seems like it's going to be 1 for 1, but only for Alberta, as anybody who walks into the path of their guns just gets mowed down in 5 seconds. One consolidation kill avoids the flawless, but it's not so well to the point where they can take it home. Finally getting the memo and taking it downstairs to Piano. They are going to bring the mirror, as I spoke on before, but they're not going to have the Wamai to back it up. Castle, also the second staple operator that you need for this breach. Now, Alberta has decided to take the lead and start running with it. Hopefully they can get stopped dead in their tracks before they can build it up to something that's too far to come back from, such as a 5-1 or potentially a 6-1 post-switch.
And, you know, I mean, especially when you're going to be allowing University of Alberta to go into defense on their own map pick, I think they're going to feel pretty confident going in with that much of a lead. I mean, even right now, you're looking at a 3-3 split. SFU needs to be able to pull this one back. They need to sit there and win out these next 2 rounds to go into the half at least even, because right now, University of Alberta are feeling very, very confident and very good about themselves. However, I mean, we can take a look at the previous map. All right. Going into that split in that advantage, not always going to play out into your favor, as we ended up seeing. It took us all the way through overtime for SFU to even pull out on top on their own map. But time is going to be able to tell. Round 5, we're 30 seconds through, and I mean, so far only the approach up to the map as the members are moving up. See what they can find.
I think the operator here that we really need to talk about, the elephant in the room, if you may, the fact that they have a fuse with a shield in front of him in the big 2025. This might be either the most controversial or the best pick we'll ever see. He's not even running the right pistol. The PMM deals way more damage than the GSH, and it's going to be a pain to have to deal with, but might be for nothing, as he might get picked off early here. Can he clear his corners? Sounds like yes, as the sound from the Legion will allow him to clear one operator that could have potentially ruined anybody in his path, and will get picked off. There we go. That's the first kill. And Fuse showing me and proving me wrong and taking care of the first player, who is actually imperative to the flanks as he holds the goo mines and was unknown until he was to check the corner. Vert is the next name that needs to be cleared. No eyes to catch the Miras, and it looks like Ash will have a great time clearing them upstairs.
You know, I mean, we call it the cast a curse, or, you know, maybe speak it and bring it into existence. Man, you know, I don't think this sledge is gonna be getting a kill with the sledge. No, he's not. Okay, Hutcha, I'm sorry. Takeo ends up knocking down Hutcha. Takeo finds a double kill as he knocks Patchy out as well. 2 members down for the offense. Okay, it is Caster's curse. I'm sorry, Hutcha.
We should stop making big comments, as finally SFU has gained the advantage after they've gotten the case down, found the soft breach, and found the person who can send those explosive pucks down the hatch. The frag grenade doesn't have the damage he wants it to have. Swinging out into it, you're still going to be safe by them. Takeo will go out swinging, at least trying, but SFU does get shot out from yellow, and now there is another defender who is there to take out the place of him, but will go down yellow because it is more important to keep your body than go out and take one with you. You would rather 2 players instead of a 1vx situation, and right now Mira needs to make the C4 work. Unsure as to if the Kaid has the C4 in hand, but no, for some reason he's running barbed wire.
30 seconds, ticking down. 25 To be honest, it's a 2 to 3 member scenario, and honestly, if you're looking at the HP bar of this IQ, it's maybe a little bit less than that. Razors is not feeling too good about this one. Time ticking down, though. We need to see the defusal come on in. Razors goes for the drop, Chubbs ends up getting shot on down by Vaquero. Nobody going in. Oh, Razors is down. The attackers end up winning it, though, because they find the last remaining member. And it looks like University of Alberta are up even more so right now, 4-1 for the University of Alberta.
It was so close. It was just a game of twinkle toes, and the Vector, with its ability to pierce through walls, is not too good. And apparently not too good when matched up against the mighty R4C, and that's the easy win there. What looked like it was finally going in the way of SFU has turned around and now gone in the favor of Alberta, as now we were speaking of the bigger differentials, and I think this is the biggest lead we've seen in both maps as we're taking it to 4-1.
4-1. I mean, do we want a 4-2 half, a 5-2 half, 5-1 half? Oh, we'll never have a 5-2 half. 5-1 half. Am I gonna be seeing you in map 3 over on Bank? Where's this headed right now? Because if University of Alberta ends up taking this one, they hold out the defense on their own map. We're gonna be tied up in this series 1-1 in our very first set here in season number 2. This one's going the distance, isn't it, Sino?
I mean, seeing as to how SFU picked Chalet and then won it, and then Alberta picked Consulate, and now they're gonna win it, as we're seeing them consistently run away with the lead unless they prove me wrong, which I don't want to say anything because apparently the Cactus Curse is real. Everything we've said has been spoken into existence, but right now it's been looking like it might go to a map 3. They're both playing exponentially amazing on their own maps, and they're just getting better as we see them go on into the rounds. They're learning from each other, they're adapting to their plays, and I think it's getting better, and it's looking a lot more coordinated than anything we saw in Chalet, where it was a little bit all over the place when it came down to the operators and the utility they wanted to bring down.
Coordinated. I think that was the big word that I wanted to pick apart right there. We're seeing these teams work together a lot more smoothly. I mean, take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 members. Whereas what we saw back on map number 1, where they were just so spread out and all over the place. Now a good uniform push in coming in. They have the Monty, they have the Ash, they have the Ace to sit there and blow open the walls. I'm looking forward to this one. Even a Lion. I mean, we haven't seen a Lion yet, but I mean, we know exactly what he's going to do. And as soon as that push comes in, we're going to pop the Lion charge. We're going to sit there and see what members we can spot on out. A little bit different approach, though, that they had the first time. So I'm liking it so far. I'm liking the adaptations, as we've been saying, to cover the mistake that they had a few rounds prior.
I think that a multifaceted push couldn't hurt anybody. Having those angles of vert, having the yellow push is something that's very, very nice. And it's also going to play into your benefits because you'd be able to clear the roamers faster, as that's not something we're seeing right now because apparently nobody realized there was a Valk on the roam. Might coincidentally get caught on the roam just by sheer luck of the attackers. But right now, they're solely focused on getting in the building, opening the breaches, getting rid of the mirrors, and working their way into sight. The C4 will get used on the Monty. No tags. He'll take literally 1 tick of HP as damage. Smoke trying to push somebody out. The second C4, though, will take him down, and the bullets from the shockwave of the shield moving to the side will take him down to 1 HP. Monty is now vulnerable to getting taken out by the Toxic Babe, but we're going to see Takeo in his traditional area, where he absolutely deserved a win for SFU earlier on, but another C4 is the third goes out, and they're all wasted. Is there going to be one more from the Valkyrie? Where is she, and has she been found? As the attackers have covered so much space, done so much, and right now, it means nothing as Pogo will find a kill, and that's what you get for not clearing correctly. SFU at the positive area here, as they managed to get a body, and he'll rotate back to site because he knows better than to sacrifice himself. Hotshot will get the second on the Jackie, and the Thatcher's down, not but out, as Monty has the crucial idea to either walk through the smoke or sacrifice the round to SFU, which seems like the life of the Monty is going to be forfeit if he tries to go for a res or try to take on 3 bodies with a pistol, as we'll see a flawless round coming from SFU, which is kind of a curveball considering they were down 3 rounds.
Good turnaround right there. SFU able to pull it on out, going into the half now, 4-2, and I mean, that's a lot better than 5-1 right there. Now they are going to be on the offense, and hey, if University of Alberta had anything to say about it, this is doable. They can bring this one on back, and we were talking about it a lot earlier on in this round, saying how Consulate is a map that can kind of go really either way. It depends on how well a team is able to strategize and work together. So interested to see what SFU's approach is going to be on the offense and if they can pull this one off. And I mean, University of Alberta, show us why you picked this map. Show us why we're here on Consulate.
I do think the Fenrir ban is going to be something that's going to bite both teams in their behind later on into the game, if we do take it further than that. But seeing how Valkyrie has been prioritized alongside with Legion, it's been absolutely dreadful to see an attacker try to push up through admin. It's went in the favor of Alberta every single time because they know how to work their way around the intel, but with any unsuspecting person, having a person with a Valkyrie camera and a C4 usually leads to an easy C4 kill from below. Now, if you've seen a player that knows how to use Legion correctly on hallways, staircases, or anywhere surrounding those areas, you see him on the shotgun. An absolute gun that needs to be nerfed, but not too many players know about it. It packs a punch, it has distance, and you can use it to make rotates. It's the best universal weapon you can have alongside with the pistol as a secondary, so you're not stopped at any end. So having these players in corners to do certain things is not something you can call a disadvantage. But right now, both teams need to show us what they can do when the tides have shifted and switched sides. We're going to see them on the attacker-defender switch, and it's already looking very different as they've decided to put feed holes on meeting instead of fully reinforcing it off and integrating the castle into their hold.
Honestly, open it up. You get line of sights across. You don't even have to worry about holding admin. I think it's a great idea and a great strategy, and I can't say it's something I haven't done, but with a Clash, because it's kind of funny to sit there in the middle of the hallway and just stare across. But I mean, they don't have my flat brain that I have.
Expertise.
So there's a reason they're playing and I'm talking about the game, okay? At the end of the day, 60 seconds off the clock and a nice steady push in, a nice steady utility clear coming in from SFU. They need to honestly go for the sweep and finally moving on in and entering the building. We see Doggo Pogo making his way on inside along to KO, trying to clear that first floor, checking out for any roam. Good defensive hold, though, from University of Alberta. I mean, take a look at this. They have the mute, the smoke, the castle, and the legions. They're looking to really hold down, and they're getting the information from this Valkyrie. It's just a good, steady hold, and I think we said it plenty of times, but I'll say it again. I love that these teams are playing a lot more collective, not only just... Oh,
What?
well, yep, to KO. I mean, he was caught checking Twitter.
Pachai just runs around the map. I have no idea how he realized the default cam potentially was not shot. But looking at the drone economy of the attackers here, they have 4 drones left that are not active. Make it 3 because one of them was used by the former late to KO as he gets caught out by the Valkyrie. And there you go. That's the C4. The traditional way how to use Valkyrie will give her the second kill of the round. And right now, the attackers had a little bit of a stalemate where we're going to see a spiral engagement. Nobody from admin. And you're going to pay for this. You got to go for the traditional pushes. And Hutch will punish you with a shotgun. Nothing but a nice 12-gauge slug to the face as Vakito will take out Chubbs. And again, the SMG-12 flies into the chassis. Nobody is aware that he is in long desk until Pachai will end it there with a triple kill. But maybe the Valkyrie needs to teach Dokkaebi a little lesson on recoil control as that SMG-12 was kicking, potentially robbing the Dokkaebi of 2 kills.
Man, honestly, what a round by University of Alberta on that defense. It was just, I thought it was 2 seconds away from being a flawless round. Unfortunately, not able to find the last one and seal the deal. Man. Oh, wait. That was... Oh, wow. I'm just still trying to, like, think back to that opening pick, because that's just sitting on my head, is... You gotta make sure you're checking for these roamers. You gotta make sure you're just, you know, getting plenty of information out. You gotta make sure you're picking recruit, you know? And it seems to be what University of Alberta is deciding is the play right now, so we're gonna go for the recruit play here to, possibly get us into match point for University of Alberta?
Potentially is the big word here. I don't know if this is a visual bug or the server's lagging, but right now we're going to see a basement site. I really hope that's what it is because it feels like everything is shaking on my screen, but we're now looking at a Mira integrated into a bottom hold. What would you expect? We're going to have Mira not accompanied by OMI or a Jaeger, allowing an Ash to be able to easily open it if they were to bring one. But now it's going to look like they're going to go for a Vert hold. That might be something that is prioritized for Vert. Again, having a different team on attack, we get to see the uniqueness of their push, but is Vert really the right idea when you have a roamer that you've struggled to find in the past for the last 2 rounds. Let's see if they can bring it.
See if they can bring it. It's like a main breach push on in right now with the thermite. I'm gonna hold out. They do have mute jammers though on the main breach, so not gonna be able to open that one up too easily. Oh, you know what? I stand corrected. It's just Hot Chocolate chilling on over there. He's just waiting for his opportunity for Piano to get cleared out so they can knock out those mute jammers and he can open up that wall. Are they able to find an opening though? I think there's only the mute jammer on the one side.
Right now, it's just Vigil here. The jammer's not going to mean much as he's getting pushed together between the mute, the Dokkaebi, and a very early engagement on with everybody here certainly fixated on the Vigil, but are they aware that there's a man up here with a jammer and roaming, protecting the Vigil, being his guardian angel? I think we're going to be in for an early engagement on the 3rd floor.
Early engagement on the 3rd floor. The Dokkaebi call is down. You know where the players are at. You know where the defense is hiding. Nobody really sitting on those mute jammers. They were able to turn off their phones in time, though. But that information getting out nonetheless. And Patchy's able to find Takeo for the opening pick. One member up now for the defense. And honestly, with the way University of Alberta's been playing, I'm sure they are pretty happy with this one to find a second one. Double kill right now for Patchy as he finds Doggo Pogo. Now with the gridlock and the IQ both off the map, Hot Chocolate's gonna have to rotate around. He can no longer play that main breach. The Ram off the board. Hot Chocolate gone as well. It all comes down to Chubbs, and all 5 members of University of Alberta are still remaining. Yeah, you know what? Make your final call. We'll see how this one goes for you, Chubbs. I wish you the best.
Seems like the prophecy has been passed on. We've seen him take care of it again. He's been left in the situation where he's surrounded in a pool of defenders circling him like sharks, but right now, apparently the prophecies went from Jackie to Pacha as he's managed to find 2 opening picks in both rounds. As he needs to put it in the coffin, we just need to find his Dokkaebi, and we'll be on our ways, nice and happy campers, on to 6-2 match point. Right now, Chubb still saying, going through, looking for something, but it seems like there's going to be nothing to find as the case is down, and all of the defenders are just sitting in passive positions waiting for him to swing, and it looks like he'll just back up into the bullets. That's the 2nd flawless in a row for Vaquero and his team.
Great flawless, and University of Alberta taking themselves on into match point. It all comes down to this, and I should say it all comes down to this for this map. It's looking pretty straightforward into us heading on over into Bank for a map number 3 tonight, Zeno.
Is this going to be the end, as Adele likes to say? This could boil down to an overtime game. We're seeing a lot of players trade. We're seeing a lot of engagements go on very early and then very late and then very early and then very late. It's very repetitive. I'm not saying I have a problem with that, but right now, we're really just getting the insights onto both teams. Seeing them battle out 6-6, then 7-7, and then go to overtime again is something we need to speak about. We were seeing Chalet that absolutely dreaded in cinematics, and in cinema we saw how it ended, but right now we're looking at a little bit of a blowout.
A little bit of a blowout indeed. I mean, they're looking pretty phenomenal, and I like the adjustments that are getting made to this. You know, there's a reason they picked this map, and I think I did read somewhere that SFU doesn't really have any plans or approach to Consulate, so maybe that's why this map got picked up. Maybe it's not so much a comfort for University of Alberta, but more so a lack of comfort for SFU, so it's a possibility for that front. Let's see if this is going to be the last round. Let's see if SFU pulls it on back, ties it on up, and I mean, takes us back into overtime for the 2nd time tonight.
Now, I'm going to say one thing. I don't want to speak into existence, but I do want to mention the last game we saw was 6-3 or 6-4, if I'm not mistaken. That's only 2 rounds shy of the current scoreline. We could see a crazy comeback, maybe. I'd be angry for the University of Alberta, but let's see who'll be doing the tossing today, because there is a Valkyrie with a C4, and right now she'll be circling Piano, and hopefully she can find a pick, as right now they need to look for some picks as the attackers have found the first roamer, but she'll just be doing her thing and circling the block, looking for a kill here.
60 seconds off the clock. A nice steady push coming on in from SFU. Shots fired. Not going to be able to connect, though, from Hotshot. Is going to get drawn down on this Valk. Is going to have to rotate on out of this position. Or, you know what? Maybe you just double down, hold it confidently, and even push further ahead. Trying to go for the wall bang. Not going to be able to connect any shots. And It seems like a nice slow and steady approach from SFU. They're not going to bite. They're not going to jump at anything. They're just going to play their game just right.
Seems like piano would be the name of the game if they had a Mira. Doesn't seem much of a game, as if the defenders are waiting for an impending doom. Can they adapt to it? There's no Ash on the board, so the Mira would have been a beautiful pick, but right now they're going to decide to take the verticality in their own hands with operators that'll just be soft breach in waiting for somebody to make a play here. This could play in their benefits because now they don't have to deal with the Black Mirror that could potentially stab them in the back later on into the round. But it seems like the attackers aren't really in the building here looking to get a pick onto the vert operators. They're just repelled on the windows waiting for something to happen. Two frag grenades have been wasted. That's massive for the defenders if they've wasted amounts of ability and utility. That's something that needs to be talked about, as right now the attackers back up into the site, but they haven't cleared vert perfectly, as Jackie's here on the roam, coming in from piano, running back into the site. C4 kill will find the life of Pogo, and it right now looks like they've managed to do all right without that Mira, and it looks like we're going down towards the end of the game, but maybe not, as Warden is taken out as a little bit of a consolidation kill, but it's a double as Hutcha makes that differential right back down to 2 bodies, and right now it's boiling as Gridlock wants to get that kill onto the Grand Piano, but Legion knows it just needs to be a game of bringing around the Rosie to waste all the time. Takeo losing all of his damage from a Volcan and the gun, getting taken out. Gridlock finds one, almost getting taken out by the Gumine, and right now they're both at 1 HP. They need to get into the site and get it down, but a Gumine takes them out. It's 8 seconds left, and it's over as Jackie will get wallbang. Sfu might have the greatest clutch here if he can manage, but he needs to stick a plant and find 2 bodies all at 1 HP. Can he do it? One man drops down to hatch, and it looks like it might be enough to do that, as he'll cancel it out. And that's us heading next to Bank.
Wow. Honestly, a very fantastic, well-played map from the University of Alberta. They showed exactly why they picked this map. Offensively, defensively, I think they looked great in both aspects. And honestly, even just from the first map, we saw so many changes getting made, okay? We're seeing a lot more cohesion, a lot more coordination. These teams are starting to play together, and honestly, both teams are starting to play together. Unfortunately for SFU, it went a little bit more, a lot of it more in favor of University of Alberta. So great job to them. I'm excited to see how this is going to go to, I mean, the SFU pick Bank, where they get to start on defense.
I think this decider is going to be a little bit lopsided, as we've seen them take the lead and run away with it. Alberta having a fantastic debut, not going 2-0 in their favor, but taking it to overtime means something at least, and it's just notes to build on. The more maps, the better, and more opportunities you'll have to learn, but we will have to put those thoughts on hold, as we're going to go into a short break, as we're going to move into our next map as soon as we can. So without further being said, get up, stretch your legs, do a jumping jack, as I like to say, and we'll be back shortly. What's up, everybody? We're back for the last map, sadly, of tonight's stream and of this game. An absolute insane lineup we've seen. One team took it to overtime, the other one ran through them, both on their maps selectively. Thank God we didn't see a little bit of that crisscross where we see each team win on each other's maps. But right now, we take it on the decider of Bank, where it's going to be who is the best, the team that's on their debut for the CCL, or the ones that need to learn and bring it on to bring their series home.
You know, it all comes down to this, the first map going all the way to a dead tie, and it was like, okay, you know, a little bit more of a defensive side of map. And then the second map is like, okay, this one could go either way. It's kind of that 50-50 neutral map. It could really see either option coming into fruition, but it was more decisively, honestly, in favor of University of Alberta. So kudos to them for really just knocking it out of the park on their own map pick. But now we're going over to Bank. And while I said that Constant's probably the closer to the 50-50 offensive defensive split, I feel like Bank is the closest to just being defensive heavy on these side of the maps. It was picked by SFU. They have defense option kicking off. So I'm hoping for, expecting for some good things coming out of SFU right here, right out of the gate. I want to see an electric turnaround, especially after that last map.
I do think the turnaround is something we really want to see, but right now, the most important thing that goes on in Bank, the bans. I can say it another time, but it's all about how the bans break down the game. If you can restrict the right operators, you can really break it down to straight skill, gunfights, and teamwork, and that's really what Siege is about. You never really want a team or a roster or a side to have too many stacked operators, or it's really going to take care of all the fun and all of the life we like to see in the esports scene. So taking care of Monty is a beautiful first ban, as you're going to take care of him when he comes into the building, tries to get a plant down. And again with the Ying, I haven't seen a team prioritize the Grim or the players that can bring so much more ability than Ying. She's taken a nerf recently, Azami, with no needed correction to get taken off the board. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen her all game long and all series long. Ying, I'm a little conflicted about, but let's wait on for our last defender ban.
You know, I'm sitting there, we were coming into this map, I'm like, Monty. I'm pretty sure I said it way back before we even started map number 1, where I was like, you know, I'm pretty sure Monty is such a staple pick. You're able to get in there, move it as a unit, and just lock down on site. I do see the Ying as kind of filing into that option. You have the Ying-Monty combination. We're going to push on in. No surprise to see the Mira and the Azami getting taken away. Really great defensive operators, and honestly, Azami who can just play any part of the map. But this does leave one operator open. There he is, Patchy picking it up. It's the Blackbeard. I'm excited to see this one because I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen it in a comp setting yet. So I want to see what they end up doing, how they utilize this Blackbeard pick, because it's been banned all season and we finally got it.
I mean, this is chaotic. We talked about not stacking the rosters, and here they are making me eat my words. Both of the rosters are absolutely beautiful. The defender is ready to absorb any of those attacker picks, but this is one of those maps where you can literally get 80% of your picks just from staying outside. The literal east end of this map is complete windows. There is almost, I'm guessing, 5 skylights, including the ones in the main lobbies. There's windows you can rappel up on to get lucky angles, and you're going to have 0 with 6 cameras that have lasers attached onto them, and Blackbeard to be your chaos agent. The attackers are going to have a good time pushing, but the defenders are going to have an even better time holding, as they have Castle and Kaid to receive. For some reason, not using the C4 though.
Not using the C4, and here we do see the push-up coming on in. It's a very collected approach right now from University of Alberta. They're all just kind of pushing from this one side. I'm interested to see the approach right now. SFU holding down this second floor defense, and well, the Blackbeard's made his way on over and just peeking into the window, seeing what they could find.
Right now, there's not too much to speak of, as it's all quiet on the western front. Preemptive gunfights here are going to just force players off of certain angles, but again, this Valkyrie is going to be somebody to deal with. And where did Hot Chocolate fall from? I'm just realizing there's been a pick here in 40 seconds.
When did that happen?
The shield is gone. So is Hot Chocolate. Anything left of him is going to be seen in his frostbats as that memory. For some reason, the shield has been placed in the dead center of the long haul. Pogo will be there to capitalize and take out Patch. And that's your Blackbeard gone from chaos to nothing, from hero to zero, as now you don't have that operator to pressure the attackers into making any mistakes. The shield is put in a little bit of a wonky position. The other one has been blown up, and right now, Warden still has the ability to stay in this corner uncontested, as that player who could have pushed him off is no longer with us.
Blackbeard, bad operator, confirmed. We don't need to pick it. We don't need to ban it. Just get it out of here. You know, we're done with the Blackbeard. I'm over it at this point. You know, no, it's really unfortunate that, I mean, Patchy ended up getting picked on off there. Still, though, members from University of Alberta hanging around outside, just kind of poking around and seeing if they could find a pickoff. And I'm just kind of wondering how long this is going to be the case, because you did mention a little bit earlier on in the round that you can get a lot of picks from sitting outside. Well, my issue is we do a lot of sitting outside. We don't move towards the site until the final 20 seconds, and this has been proven time and time again throughout this series, namely back on map number 1. So I'm a little bit worried if that's going to be the case for University of Alberta. Are they going to make that happen here? I mean, take a look at this. Even still, Vakeo sitting outside, not wanting to enter the building, just looking for lines of sights, but nobody's really batting an eye. Nobody's really peeking. 30 seconds to go, and there are still 4 defenders, very healthy, very ready, and very much in and around sight. Shots through the wall, and down goes Razors. Jackie ends up finding Takeo though as well. 3 members still alive for the defense, 2 for the offense. University of Alberta have to push in. We're getting down to the 15-second mark. It all comes down to this. All comes down to the push in. But Kato's still sitting outside. Jackie's the only one inside. They don't have diffuser in hand. What's going to be the option? You got to get all 3 members off the board. Vacato does end up finding Svu, but that's going to be it. Defenders win the opening round.
That's one of those moments where you actually have to critique both teams. Now, the defenders did take charge and win it and make those right decisions. A little too late here, but they did keep the 2 board bodies on. But right now, we're seeing 2 bodies versus 2 bodies with 1 second left in the round, and ultimately finishing the round with 4 bodies total. I think that's a flaw when it comes to straight execution in gunfights. But so far, SFU got lucky with their first hold, but can they do it again to show us it's just not luck? The window picks just took too long, and Pogo was here to contest every single swing as he swung, and he won both his gunfights, which were absolutely crucial. Taking care of the Blackbeard very early on also dictated terms for SFU, and right now, defense could not be more of a heaven for these players.
More of a heaven, and honestly, more of a difference that we've seen throughout all 3 of these maps so far. And we got a Maestro, we got an Aruni coming in here. I think 2 key operators who we haven't seen at all today. So I'm interested to see what the approach is. I mean, yeah, this is a typical Aruni play. Come on, show me something different. Show me something spicy. I don't want to see that kind of stuff, all right? At the end of it's just Aruni stuff, come on.
Shame you for playing utility, as he says. But
yes,
we move on, and I think one of the main things to talk about here is how SFU has managed to adapt without having dubs himself. He had a little bit of a shaky start to last season, not looking the best, and I'm pretty sure there was a match where one of their players went 1-11. Now, not having a fragger on your team, yes, you can adapt to that by having straight team players, but having a player who cannot capitalize in 11 rounds is something to speak of here. But right now, SFU's looking completely rebranded in the 2nd season, and Alberta's here with their first and showing us why they want to be here. So I do think all around on the board, no matter which team wins here, everybody can go home happy that it's something correct. But right now, both teams focused on taking this home, even if it is just a group stage match. It's important that you've taken us to the map 3 head-to-head until last match where they absolutely decided to take it to one way. But right now, Alberta, contestable opponent to SFU. Both teams know exactly what they're doing, how they want to do it, and when they want to do it. And I think that's the main takeaway for this matchup.
There's nobody on the roam right now. Everybody's really bunkered down. I think the furthest member is right here. Whoever's on blue stairs, just chilling, watching the angle. It's gonna be, oh my god, Svu. It's gonna be Svu just chilling over here on the staircase. Everybody else is just kind of pulled in towards site, and I think that's exactly how you need to play this basement site. But it's really a stark change from what we've seen over the course of these maps, where we see a very spread out. I mean, even last map on Consulate, where it was like, okay, you know, it was a little bit more coordinated, a lot bit more coordinated, I should say, for both of these teams. It was still a good spread coming in from them. Frag getting cooked, getting thrown onto the stairs, but I mean, why should I even say getting cooked? You can't cook those anymore. Does get spotted out though, takes out the mute jammer, gets droned out. They know they got a shotgun just chilling on this staircase waiting for him. It's the mute. Are they going to be able to flush it out? It's spotted out. Frag goes in. The shots are there, but they don't connect entirely to finish it off. There he goes. Down goes the mute. Some good damage onto the Deimos, but inevitably Jackie gets the opening pick.
Yeah, just look at who gets the opening pick now. Slug pistol versus shotgun. That can take care of you basically in a bullet, and you didn't win the engagement. Tried to seek asylum to a mute jammer, but it got blown up in the earlier stages of the round. The can opener will be used to open up a close right breach to be able to go in for the default plant, allowing Blackbeard to walk in. And a turtle plant isn't something that seems too crazy here, as Blackbeard has avoided both Volcans as they've been popped here. Goyo running a 1.5 optic is a little insane when it comes to just getting the diffuser down, because you cannot get that long angle. Leaving himself open doesn't matter. Impact's getting it used, but C4's nowhere to be found, as he'll stick the case, only taking 45% of his damage, as a trade from Sfu is met by Hutcha getting taken off the board. Now you do have the Overwatch coming in from the Habana, and it is a post plant to dream of for the attackers, as there's 4 bodies up for them and 3 bodies up from the defenders, as Razors take cares of Hot Chocolate. And right now, it's not the best look for SFU, as now they're gonna start to struggle. Bunched up in the long hallway of Secure and not looking too good, as the C4 won't even be able to make it up the hatch, as it is blocked off by an Aruni Syria gate. Habana still getting aggressive, because what's the game without getting aggressive, using everything she can and getting 3 kills, using the Bearing 9, using that primary gun, anything, the Type 89, the Bearing 9, it doesn't matter. You have hatch, you have no stuns, but it doesn't matter because you're there for pure gun skill, and that gives them the round.
Good round pulled on in, and honestly, the 4 versus 4 plant scenario and all 4 members of SFU were just so healthy too on top of it. It begs you to wonder, it was like, what were they really doing in that instance? When you go from earlier in the round where it felt like everybody was kind of collective in and around, watching their angles in sight. And then we get to this later scenario where the plant is down, 4 members are healthy. Where are you guys? That's the question I just got to be asking, is where are you? What are we watching right now? And I mean, clearly it wasn't those server wrecks. We see a Cavi and a Tachanka coming out. They're really mixing it up here in map number 3, and I love it.
I do agree with the little mix-ups, but Tachanka with an LMG. The destruction's there, the motive is there, but a Caviera in the big 2025 is the equivalent of bringing frozen marshmallows to a gunfight. It's not going to be the best when you get that M12 into a gunfight. It deals so much damage when you only hit a headshot. When it comes to body damage, you can waste a whole mag into a person and they can stay alive against the M12. So a little bit of an interesting loadout is going to allow the defenders to be put at a disadvantage automatically, as we're going to see a shield up and the Deimos paired up yet once again. And the attackers, once they realize there's a cap to clear, Deimos is going to have an absolute blast.
Oh yeah, once you figure out it's a cap, I mean, that's just free for the Deimos. It's like, all right, cool, well, you're not on hunting duty, you're the prey. In this instance, I am the predator. I mean, just take a look at that mask icon. He knows exactly who he is. I'm just waiting for that moment, wait for him to see, and take a look at the lineup that we have here for University of Alberta. Look what we're kind of leaning back into, this Deimos blitz approach. I mean, they have the Lion. We saw this back on the previous map. They get aggressive, they go in, and this is the unit that we're waiting to see. Let's see if University of Alberta pull it back and pull exactly what they end up doing. And then there goes the Cav.
Nice and early, and look who is again on the board. 4-0 is next to his name, and it will be Jackie to find the kill. Cav taken care of in under 2 minutes, and that is exactly what you would like. Right now, Maestro is going to be on the board. 2 LMGs is not something you will see every single day on defense. A little bit of preemptive measures need to be taken, checking for any of those traps, and right now he'll have to check for everything, because if he takes damage from these Volcans, he will not be able to get that planted down. Right now, he's trying to get through, get everything done, and Habana will be doing her job and getting the hatches open. No good luck allows an easy flank if a defender dares, and right now it's all passive positions and who can deny the best.
Halfway through the round, still halfway to go. All 5 members of the University of Alberta are chilling and honestly quite healthy. That Cav pick was swift, it was quick, and it was one to knock on down. Only 4 members remaining, finally taken down to that 60-second mark. Good steady push in coming in, but take a look at this right now. All of the members of the offense are just kind of chilling right around here, trying to figure out which way they want to go and how they want to approach this one. Drop down over. Oh, that's not a drop. Sorry, this is the members of defense, the SFU, who's just kind of chilling in cash, waiting for the drop down, waiting to see if someone drops down lobby.
Right now, what you thought was a Maestro on attack has turned into the Maestro sitting in gold, waiting for a body, but guess what, Hutcha capitalizing again, because apparently SFU just don't have headsets, they haven't heard, but 2 kills is going to allow Hutcha to just make his way in. A response from Chubbs as he'll put himself on the board, but Pacha and Vaquito's double will allow them to take that round. The gold team up, the vault hatch drop is what is needed to secure the round, and that's exactly what it will do. And it looks like Alberta has found their stepping stone and that momentum to give themselves the lead. And right now, they're playing off of audio, and SFU is just not.
2-1, they're listening, they're moving around as a unit. I mean, I'm sitting here getting skeptical of them, like, oh man, I don't know what they're doing and why they're moving so slow. They know what they're doing and why they're moving so slow. They're clearing off the members of SFU, they're knocking out their utility, they're closing in on site, and they're just getting it done. They're getting it done right. Each of these members on University of Alberta are playing a very pivotal role, and honestly, so far, so good. 2-1. See if they can extend that lead here in round number 4. Is SFU going to bring back this tie? What kind of adaptations are you expecting to see from SFU going here?
Right now, I think keeping that differential closed for as long as possible is the main focus here. And that would start with switching Kaid from barbed wire to a C4. Now, right now, what we're seeing is the right measures being taken, except for last round. That round, you brought a Cav and a Tachanka. It's only inevitable you lose the round. We're seeing the right measures being taken when it goes to upstairs. You're bringing the Valkyrie, you're prioritizing the right picks, but you're not getting the final foot in the door to be able to confirm that round. And Alberta's there to snap on it. When it comes to last second executes, they've been beating them every single time, and we've seen that across every single map. They've turned it around, and with having such a good player such as Jackie, you have so much to talk about and so much to worry about. And I'm surprised they haven't taken a second to sit back, relax, and take a round to the slowest extent and try to play it to the post plant. But so far, they need to try to take it to 3-3 when it comes to the attacker-defender switch, is what I would say, now that they've lost the lead.
Lost the lead, but I mean, easily to pull back. It's only a 1-round scenario, and let's be honest, they're on defense on bank. We talked about this just being a defensive side. They have all the tools in their pocket. It just comes down to the execution, and I think, you know, you did mention the operator lineup in the previous one, and I kind of have to agree. As much as I love the Lord Tachanka, give him his throne back. I think he deserves it. He's an anchor tried and true in my heart. I think that's the way he should end up staying. It's a rough pick, and you gotta ask yourself, what else could we have had in this position to keep that out? I mean, I think the smokes looked great in the previous maps. I think that was a perfectly fine option. Why did we end up switching over to this Tachanka? Oh. Here in round number 4, though. No more Tachanka, no more Cav. The jump out is there, the shots connect, and we finally knock him down. See if you can make it back in Svides. Foo! Looks like he made it down into dirt. He's out.
Showing us why you should prioritize Claymore. Zero getting taken out is absolutely essential. Taking care of the player that can literally use Valkyrie cameras, but with lasers. Now, as he's been taken out, placing down 3 of his cameras, 1 has been shot. Patchai covering Banana, clearing Elevator with that frag grenade. And right now, they've had the long angle from the ace. He's their Overwatch support, and the player contesting him is going to be the hope that he needs to take care of, or they're going to have some pain to deal with. Taking it to the other sides of the map, we have Razors not going out without a fight, as he'll take care of Jackie. The man to speak of, the man who cannot be killed, is finally taken down. 4-2, good shots, and it'll allow the Blackbeard to walk in despite having a pick against him. Does not see the goo mine, but manages to evade it, and right now he's covered so much ground all by himself. The defenders are still unknown to his whereabouts, and being able to walk in is going to get him a kill. Can he find the second is the question. Sitting behind a soft wall, doesn't matter, else he'll get 2. Can he find the third? Yes, he can, and it's Razors to end out the round.
Great round. Another one on the board for University of Alberta. Honestly, 3-1 right now. Further extending that lead, further putting themselves into a nice cemented position before they even get to the defensive side of things here on Bank. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I got to be entirely honest. I keep trying to sit there and go, okay, well, SFU, they're on defense. Should be good for Bank. I like their lineup of operators a lot better. All of that is still true. It's just coming down to the fact that University of Alberta is just playing it cleanly. They're playing it better. Even the run out from Sfu, it was different. It was good. It caught them off guard. It caught me off guard. I liked it, but it just wasn't enough. What else do you need? You can go for these cheesy plays left and right, but what is the plan? I think let's take a step back and look at that. What is the idea? What are we looking to do? What are the comms like right now for SFU? I didn't mean to rhyme that one.
A little bit of a poet here, Zach. I'm starting to love it. But with poetry, it's absolute scenes here as the script writers are just showing us the debut of Alberta going exactly how they want it. Seems like they've taken the lead and ran away with it again. 3-1 is the name. And right now, if they can take even more rounds on attack, moving on to defense with a potential 4-1 or a 5-1 lead, it's going to be beautiful. And Sfu, hiding in corners, is going to be the man for a job of getting the first pick, but apparently that hasn't worked in his favor, as he found it last time, but it didn't play in his favor, as they eventually ended up losing the round anyway.
We'll see what kind of adjustments end up getting made, because they got to start making adjustments quick. They will soon find themselves on the opposite foot, soon find themselves on offense, spreading out a little bit more, kind of going back into that roam heavy style. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Sfu ends up getting knocked down to Razors, the opening pick. A nice clean headshot in under a minute. Exactly what you want to see for University of Alberta. They are leading the charge, and they are showing that they are not wanting to slow down.
Not gullible indeed, as right now, they found the first pick very early on. They've taken care of the player that can see for you from below and was below. Right now, they're taking care of the Vert, or apparently they were going to take care of the Vert as the first electrify from the Kaid. His claw will take care of the Selma charge trying to be placed down on elevator. Right now, the defenders are in a good position, but having a body down puts them at a little bit of a disadvantage, put in a worse position as the attackers circling up Banana. The breach has now been opened. An elevator shaft is no longer a viable option to camp out, and the attackers are now pushed into the back remnants of A site.
That whole hallway open up, line of sight just peering on down. This is looking kind of scary, especially with a member off the board. You completely just shut this down. Windows getting cracked open, but Takeo's able to find Vaquero. Hot Chocolate ends up finishing off Patchy. This is a good swing, a nice 1-2 swing, making a 1-3 swing right now as SFU ends up finding Razors and Hotshot. It all comes down to Jackie, the Deimos, the lone survivor. You know what? It's about to be Predator gone prey real quick. Never mind, as Hot Chocolate gets returned, Jackie gets the pickup. Rips out the goo mine, but it's still, you're sitting down at about half HP. Not looking pretty good. Looks for the shots through the floor. Not gonna be able to find it. Just through the footholes.
Right now, it's just a game of ring around the rosy and twinkle toes, and apparently Kaid's the one with the lighter toes. He'll just swing in, go right back to what he was doing earlier, and he only had to land one bullet, and one bullet was all he needed. Indeed, he takes care of it. SFU now closing the rounds and not letting them run away with the lead like last game. That's a good response, and this is why this map is the decider. Anything can happen in both ways, and right now we're seeing SFU either take every single advantage with the bodies, run away with it, or allow UA Alberta to just take the bodies, run away. It seems like the curse right now is whoever finds the first body is going to lose the round, because that has been what has been happening every single round without fail.
It seems like we're not able to get away from this, like spread it out into a 2-game lead scenario. I'm pretty sure we were in a similar situation back on map number 1 where a team gets up 3-1, and I want to say it was, SFU got up 3-1, and then University of Alberta ended up closing it down to this 3-2 scenario. So again, 3-1 down to 3-2. They're not wanting to spread it out, and oh man, is this one going to a double overtime again?
Oh jeez, don't even say the words overtime. you've broken the prophecy and the rules of
done it.
casting. Never say there's no action before the action comes to you. But right now, looking at this site setup, I think you might be right, as we're not seeing much vert. We're seeing a lot of players go on a Rooney, but not really capitalizing off that DMR. It's only 2 shots to the chest to take care of somebody. But Blackbeard being brought, I've finally seen somebody make him look effective, because we've seen players try to use Blackbeard and fail all of the time when he's not banned. Seeing an effective Blackbeard player is like finding a diamond in the rough, and so far, Pachai is that diamond. Managed to get a round for himself. Alberta wouldn't have 3 rounds right now in their pocket if it wasn't for him on 2 of those rounds where he single-handedly turned into an assassin and went for the straight kills as he pulled down the shield and got 4 in a combined of 2 rounds. And right now, he will be the first man in the building.
You're entirely honest. I mean, everything right there was so spot on. Pachai has been putting in some really good. Honestly, it's just getting the positioning and getting the vision. It's what you see with the Monty, where I want to push up slowly. I want to, start gaining some of this ground, gaining this control. You just have a little bit more, control in your other arm, having that gun that you can switch over to, and he's been doing a really great job at just getting that vision. Meanwhile, he's got the fraggers such as Fraser, who just got knocked off the board by Hot Chocolate, 7-3 now, who's been doing good to follow him up. Pachai, though, you know what? You're all they need. The ace in the hole knocks down a Doggo Pogo. Now evening things on out. 1.5 minutes left here in round number 6.
Now, we've seen the first pick go in the favor of SFU. Does that mean they're going to lose the round here? An instant response is something we haven't seen. So, we're going to be in for an interesting round. We're going to see Hot Chocolate, Demo's tracked and death marked to be found. And he will maybe walk into the room. That is literally the easiest to get played verticality from. Look at how easy that pistol cuts through the floor. It's just like butter and a knife. And right now, Chocolate has taken some damage to get down and might have actually narrowly survived death by walking at a square, but it's going to get circled right back around as the attackers push him off square and force him to rotate through archives.
That is extremely unfortunate. It looks like they are going to open up some more of that vertical play. They need to get vision down there. They need to start moving on in. We're getting down to that 30-second mark. And a little bit of damage on the Hot Chocolate. That's really nothing. You have no control over this first floor at all. I'm not even going to say you have no control over site. You have no control over first floor. They're still sitting up on the second floor. They're still trying to play this vertical. Finally, we're seeing some drops on down, but that's a defender dropping to the basement. That's Chubbs moving all the way down to look for another angle on anyone who's trying to work their way on down. Plants coming in, though. Are they going to be able to hold this one out? Vaquero does fine to KO, and Swu does retrade out Hutshot. Chubbs ends up finishing off Patchy. The plant is down, and now SFU needs to retake with only 2 members. 2v2 scenario, though.
2v2 situation, a very noble death as the person with the case got it down, then went down, but Hot Chocolate gets a triple kill on Frost and Deimos in a position of a victory. If he can hold it correctly, he'll be able to do something correctly here. He has the case in his hands. It's all about player time, and for some reason, he's staying on the soft and letting the defenders shave off as much damage as he can, and the Fuser's gonna get stuck. There's no coming back from this, and that's SFU for the 3rd round to confirm a 3 break as we move on to the attacker-defender switches.
All tied up going into the switch. I saw this on map 1. I'm not like, where's my giant block of wood that I need to knock on? I am not superstitious at all. I'm not saying that history repeats itself, even though it does. You didn't hear it come out of my mouth. But wow, what a comeback from SFU. They were able to pull that one through. University of Alberta really got in there nice and swiftly after I was criticizing them for not taking first floor ground. They drop in, they get the plant off. It looks great. It just came down to holding in the end. You're gonna be trading somebody out for that at the end of the day. So make sure you have the rest of your members holding down their angles, making sure that they're locking down that diffuser. Otherwise, you're gonna end up in this scenario. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head of why are we sitting around playing around on the soft, letting our HP get dwindled away. You're not going to be able to be in a position to peek, to, show face on the diffuser. And well, it comes down to the end. Now we're all tied up going into the half.
Not having Mira does play a big factor into this, but I do think the holds have been less than normal for SFU on defense. But it's worked out in the past. We thought they were going to take the lead, but they've managed to take a 3-1 loss, deficit of 2 rounds, down up to 3-3, and now they're having a great time. But now it's all about, can they start capitalizing? As Alberta is one of those teams that you don't really know what they're going to do next. They're either going to miss every single bullet and get flawless, or they're going to run you for your money and not let you get in the building. Bringing a Solus is something we need to speak on. We haven't seen a Solus consistently in the season since she's taken her recent nerf, where she cannot use her IO gadget during the preparation phase, which is something that's absolutely crucial considering she is the IQ on defense. So seeing her on the board is a little refreshing, allowing a little bit more diversified hold, but I'm interested to see how they'll integrate her into the lineup.
Okay, but yeah, I gotta pose this question to you. No P90. And I feel like that's so critical. And I mean, Takeo ends up knocking down Hacha, opening pick going for SFU, and now you're a man down. I just feel like the P90 is just the go-to right now, especially if you're going to be playing this Elise. Like, I think that's the one thing keeping her viable.
Now, speaking on her secondary choices, you never question a smoke when he brings a shotgun. You'll tell him, why not the FMG? Right now, the P90 is in a very broken state with its recoil, but with a shotgun as your close range weapon, your SMG at your long, you can isolate the gunfights. You can play vert when you try to get a plant down from above with the shotgun. It's something that does play to your benefits when you use the shotgun. With the recent nerfs to the slug shotguns as well, you're not going to be looking at a situation where you can wait out. And talking of slug shotguns, Vacato onto Pogo, and Sfu responds by taking out Jakey, the Solus that we were just talking about. The hatches, for some reason, are completely soft and untouched, as there's no denial ops to even have it electrified if they were to be reinforced. Vault is going to be the only hatch that will be reinforced, but now Vigil has been tasked with the sole objective of finding the roamers and taking care of them. Razors has taken care of one, and TK on the Chocolate as Chocolate finds Razors, and a little bit of a triple entendre there, as the diffuser is going to go down, and the two players that are left alive for the defensive side are your roamers, and that's going to play against you as the case has gone down. 45 seconds left, and it's now Gridlock left in the pool, in the game of Scopos, where she just needs to sit in a corner and save along with the Vigil. Get the case down or find your gunfights. You have 35 seconds to make that choice.
An absolute fraction of a second right there on that plant. A shotgun to put it away, and University of Alberta end up securing the round. Wow. Honestly, it could not have come down any closer. I thought that diffuser was down. I thought they got it down right there. Really great job by them, and University of Alberta pull ahead going into the second half. You know, I think, you know, if I look back on the Scopos call out, we're starting to, now that we're moving into map 3, identify the style that we need. I need to just make bogus calls and have you call me out on it, okay? And it seems like it's going to be really good. A Fenrir, how can I butcher this one? I don't think I can. I think Fenrir's just got great utility. I think he's got, you know, a lot of information, and then on top of it, you go to try to push in with his gadget, and congratulations. You know, your 20-second meta that you're trying to play is completely thwarted by the fact that you can't see.
I mean, Fenrir is the complete opposite of Sledge. No matter how many times you try to nerf the operator, he will prosper and stay in the roster, so the fact that you'll see him even take bans in ranked and competitive play. The FNATs are too broken, even if there's 2, it's went down from 3. The fact that they have now all become soft rather than the ones that were closed became indestructible virtually, and the fact that he has a bulletproof camera, a secondary shotgun, and the MP7. What more could you really ask for here? As Fenrir's one of the most broken operators on defense right now, he's been nerfed a total of twice and reworked another time, and he's still been absolutely broken. I don't think you can butcher him, alongside with a Legion on the board and a Cap Can. 3 trap operators, and one of them potentially has the ability to make you gone a memory and nothing but a absolute smear on the wall. If you do walk into 3 of those EDDs, it's not going to be the best of abilities for you, as 3 stacked on top of each other is enough to take out a 3 armor. So this defensive lineup is a little stacked against the odds right now, and the attackers are going to have a great time looking for them, as there's no Bravo or IQ on the board.
It's gonna be too when you're walking into a room and you gotta look around for the FNAT that's going off, and you're like, okay, well, where am I getting blinded from? And then bam, you just walk right in to a couple of bullets from Hot Chocolate, or you end up walking into those EDD mines, you know, whichever it may be, whichever comes first. Man, advantage for the offense, and SFU wanting to bring this one back to a tie. But University of Alberta still very healthy across the board, and I mean, Castle did his job. He got his walls up, And Hot Chocolate got traded back out by Vaquero, who got immediately refragged by Doggo Pogo.
You were very good at this, at the curse. Call out that there's players on the verticality, and from them being healthy to them no longer being there, as Legion and Castle have now been nothing but a memory for us to speak on. Chubbs, assuming the position of top square, now has the ability to open up the top square walls and the triple kitchen wall to get that way into sight. Not having a zombie also allows the chassis to be very unprotected. Mute is in the position here to either deny or go home. Head holes is something I've never seen on these breaches, but the jammers will keep these breaches open to live and see another day. The positions here are all power positions. You need to keep these three bodies nice, healthy, and alive, or the attackers will absolutely swarm on you and get the diffuser down just like last time.
60 seconds, clock is ticking. Offense in a very solid position right now, still very healthy across the board. They still have that Deimos as well. Looks like he's going on a hunt right now, seeing who he can end up tracking. Jackie ends up finding Takeo. Hutcher ends up finding Doggo Pogo. It is the caster's curse, man. It is the caster's curse. I say they have HP, and immediately the players say no, they don't. Take a look at that. Chubbs off the board to Hutcher as well. My, how the turntables. University of Alberta, 3 members to 1. It all comes down to the gridlock. Can Sfu make it happen? Can he get the plant down? Can he even find the diffuser? No, he cannot. Hutcher ends up finding the last one, and University of Alberta take another round.
I think it's very notable how the Fender didn't swing, even when the gridlock had turned her attention away. Waited for the visibility through the very minimal destruction through the wall to capitalize and take it home. And that is the reason. Those minute details are the reason they're up 2 rounds currently. Right now, we've seen them turn around being down a body, 2 bodies, a post plant. We've seen them do some very crazy things. SFU does have the credits for them as they have been fighting it to the death. But right now, the University of Alberta simply wants it more, as right now they've been capitalizing. Even with SMG-11s at distance, they've been managing to win their gunfights, refrag perfectly. And right now, it's all about who wins this next round. Are we going to go to a match point, or are we going to close the differential down to just 1?
And next up on my new operator counter, we have Mozzie coming in round number 9 here on map 3. Honestly, I love the Mozzie. I think great utility. Sits there, and I think has just been always useful. I have never seen an issue where I've never seen a lineup that you can't just pick up a Mozzie in and it just works.
I mean, the Monty also can be picked up in any roster, but
true.
Seeing a Mozzie, not quite a perfect count, or not quite the perfect replacement is a better word for the Mute, but he does have similar effects. Takes those drones and tells the attackers where to put them. And being able to assume them is also a benefit for the defenders, because they can just gain new types of utility, be able to control it, and actively have an attacker on defense. Now, it's very controversial how his pick rate has taken a little bit of a nosedive when he's lost at 1.5, but the players that are very skilled are going to stay on him because he is very useful when it comes to intel, and he packs the C4. His gun selection's not the best, his armory's not the best, but he's able to do what is needed to be done. Right now, we're not going to see the man himself, Pachai, on Blackbeard, but right now, we're going to have to do his Sfu on him, and let's see how he'll make it work, as this is the first time we've seen him on.
All right, Sfu, show us what you got. Show us the Sfu SFU Blackbeard on offense. Really interested right now. 60 seconds off the clock. A little bit of just that util game that we end up seeing. It's been notorious throughout all 3 maps. This nice and slow, steady approach. Let's knock down what we can. It does seem like Sfu is worried that someone is going to come in from the rotate, but I feel like the majority, if not all of the members of the University of Alberta are chilling right here in and around site. As we can see, we got what? 1 over in the elevator. Does he have vision on the Blackbeard? He does. Sends a couple shots his way, but that shield is going to be enough to save his life.
Blackbeard taking more than he can chew, as Jackie, who is trying to help out the defenders, will do so successfully, as we've seen Zofia Takeo try to help out his Blackbeard, but instantly getting refragged from the long angle of stock. Fraser's getting the second onto Chocolate. That's your Dokubi gone. No more calls, no more cameras to be hacked. Blackbeard still looking to get lucky, but you're not no patch eye on that shield op. And instead of trying to take Janitor's control when he had the ability to, when not a single defender was around, he tried to take the hallway. And right now he's put in a situation where he has to deal with every single defender. And guess what? You cannot prosper. You take care of everybody. And it's a 5v3 with 2 bodies down, 3 bodies now, 4 bodies now, as Razors takes out Chubbs, and it's now gone. 5v3, and that's almost a flawless if they can find this Cali.
They can find the last one, find the Kali who's holding an angle, and that is going to put them into a prime match point situation. Impact is there, does a little bit of damage onto the Kali. Doggo Pogo ends up falling. Jackie gets it. Flawless round, and we're moving on into match point. University of Alberta looking to take the set here on night number 1.
Now, whoever voted for this is going to have an absolute horrifying time if you're an SFU fan. What was their advantage has now turned very, very slowly into Alberta's hands, as they've managed to show us why they're the better team. Closing down now for the second time, making the round differential above 2. No overtime is going to be in sight if they can close it out here. Great, we're looking at a 7-3. If not, they have the second opportunity when it becomes 6-4, then 6-5, then 6-6. Plenty of opportunities to take it to overtime or end off the game for both teams. But right now, we need to see, can they hold it? Basement, the last site they potentially have to hold for the night. And right now, we're seeing everybody on the UA roster having a great time, except for maybe Hutcha, as we're seeing 10-5, 5-4, 7-4, 9-4, and Hutcha 5-6. I'm sorry, buddy. The only negative body, but on Doc on support, is right now going to be a very good roster in balanced terms of having a fragger, a spear entry, a person to back you up, and that support player. It's all balanced, and you've covered up all of the foundations that are needed to win a series.
Support player? You saying the Doc is a support player? Doc's a fragger in my book. Doc is a spawn peeker in my book. We're going out. Guns blazing, we're checking all those angles. I have an ACOG for a reason. I'm going to use it, okay? That's exactly what this pick is for. So I'm a little upset that I'm not seeing that come out of Hutcha right now, but nonetheless, you know, next up on our new operator listing for today, we have Echo and Doc moving on in the potential match point, but I will say potential very lightly, as our caster's curse has already come down at the start of this round, saying that we are going to be making it all the way to overtime and then some. I hope you guys have your gallon jugs ready. We're in it for the whole.
I was referring more to the smoke as the support player, as we're talking of how the foundations can really come around here. But speaking of foundations, for some reason they've reinforced off the janitor's hatch, but nobody's playing open area that we can see. But nope, Doc is now in open area, playing more of a conservative hold, having the hatches open, I can only assume, to try to get a quick exit back into the site, allowing very easy access between the first and the basement. Right now, 2 denial operators being the smoke with a pre-placed Toxic Babe in the top left of that blue door, and Echo, who has yet to be used correctly yet. We need to see a proper use of the utility, because denial has not been a very big use in this game, and Hutcha just gets taken down through a wall here, wall banged, and then finally finished off by Hot Chocolate as he shoots a hole into the wall, takes care of him. Open area has now become anyone's person in anybody's lobby to take care of, and Patch Eye swings up through blue and says, we're not doing this too easily, and he'd take out another. That's an Ash for the dog. Not too much of an even trade, as he loses 3 stims in the pocket, and you've lost your spear entry as well.
You know, I always love seeing it. Oh, the Doc gets picked here. Oh, wait, no, he does. Oh, wait, no, yeah, he does. And ends up finally going down. Just being able to res himself like that. Great feeling, but I mean, what'd you do? You bought a little bit of extra time, 1-for-1 overall, and now you're sitting here in this, I mean, I can't really say too difficult of a position. You still got the echoes, you still got smokes. I mean, your warden's looking around, you have blue control, the smokes are out, you've got plenty of time to delay. Take a look at this, 40 seconds still to go. You got shield up, you got smoke coverage. They're not going to be pushing blue stairs ever this year, okay? Call that one off, sign it off, go for the rotate, make your way back around. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Time is ticking down. The Dokebi call comes on out. They need to go in for the drop. Flashes are going out. The warden knows exactly what's coming up. Hot Chocolate goes on down to Razors. Jackie getting fragged on out by Doggo Pogo. Push comes on in, but Vaquero ends up finding Chubbs. and it all comes down to the remaining two. That is it. That is match point right there, ladies and gentlemen. University of Alberta end up winning your opening set here in the Canadian Collegiate League Season 2.
Did they just get into a line for him? I'm very confused. Hold on. Gotta throw on the Warden analysis glasses for this because we're lining up on the match point and we see them line up perfectly for him to be able to mow them down straight. Pre-firing into a straight line allows the University of Alberta to shut out their game. And right now, I think that is a very well-deserved victory in my books, being down a map to taking it 2 in a row. Very good debut, and right now, everybody should be congratulating them for a beautiful game, beautiful fraggers, and Jackie the man himself for taking care of things when things were needed to be taken care of.
Yeah, I think you have a very interesting monitor setup. I'll tell you that much through the reflection in your glasses. But let us reflect a little bit on the matches. All right, look at that. What a segue. We went from a very scattered approach, players kind of just not really coordinated, not really, working together. We're going to spread out, and it just felt very, it felt like a big throw up on the field. They pulled it together. Both of these teams started to bring it together. They were playing like a team. They were playing like units. I felt like they were correcting their mistakes round by round, map by map, and just really getting here into this end. And honestly, we went the distance. We went all the way to map 3. You couldn't ask for anything more on your opening night here at the Canadian Collegiate League. And, well, so, it's been great. I had a fantastic time. Thank you all so much for coming on out here to the Canadian Collegiate League's inaugural match here in Season 2 for our Rainbow Six Siege. But don't you worry, we have an entire season coming at you right here on Mondays. We will see you next week, Monday, same time, new matchup, new teams, new excitement, right here at the Canadian Collegiate League. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.